welcome. It's February 5th, 2024. We're here with Scam McGilligan, finally back. Sorry, Sam McGilligan. Did I say Scam? Anyway, Sam, how you doing?
Was all right. All right.
We're also joined, of course, by producer AJ. Producer AJ, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was better when I thought Sam wasn't coming, but he's here now. So welcome back, Sam.
Jeez,
I guess.
man, catching strays within 30 seconds.
Man, I sat down and just getting stray after stray.
Brutal. Tough life.
A shelter with all these strays.
Seriously. Welcome to Scouching Live, though. It is February 5th, 2024. Hope you're having a lovely first month and a bit of your 2024. So far, so good on my end, at least. I am Will Scouch, of course. We're brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link below or scan the QR code. It provides a small kickback to the show on everything you buy. You can also help pay Sam and I's bills by getting a puck prep subscription for all your NCAA prospect needs and CHL entry draft needs. We just put through our updates for 2006 eligibles for last month. We're also brought to you by Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is my business for hand-tracked player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA in Europe. And of course, Scouching.ca, which is likely where you're watching this. You can subscribe to Scouching.ca and get exclusive access to data tools and a ton of insight into the NHL draft, the prospects and players making their mark in the NHL, as well as a really fun Discord server where all kinds of fun little adventures go on that are both hockey related and non-hockey related. So we are pretty jam-packed today. There's been a lot going on in the world of hockey over the last few days since the last time we all hung out. Excuse me. We're going to start by recapping the All-Star game, and then we're going to go over to cover a bit about the Sean Monahan trade to the Winnipeg Jets. And in doing so, we're going to circle back, take a little look at the Montreal Canadiens and where they find themselves nowadays and how far they might be away from competing. And then, of course, Todd McClelland, another coach that bit the dust last week. There have been some changes in LA, and we are going to go over that as well. And then, of course, if you have any questions, please fire them in the chat on whichever platform you may be watching on, and we'll get to them in the back half of the show. So first thing of the docket for this week, you're drinking a Red Bull.
That's already gone.
It's already gone. You're a Red Bull man generally?
I'm not really an energy drink kind of guy.
Right.
But if I am drinking an energy drink, it's probably going to be a Red Bull, and then I hate myself afterwards.
Is that Formula One related? Because you're not a Red Bull fan in Formula One?
No, honestly, less of I don't believe it or not, those wires in my brain haven't really crossed. More so just I don't like drinking energy drinks that much. Right. And I also despise Red Bull Formula One team.
All right. And you have more reason to this morning after the rumors that are flying around at that Formula One team this morning.
Man has no soul behind his eyes, all I'm going to say.
I can't dispute that.
There's something about him that just has always given me the creep. Like we work in sports, like we know how creepy people in sports can sometimes be. Like not all people, then when you sometimes see somebody, you're just like, wow. But he's one of those ones when you see them, you're like, and wow. Especially in an F1 paddock where like everybody's a bit of a character. For him to stand out so much, it's just like, all right.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious because I don't usually see you with an energy drink in hand. You don't see them very often anymore anyway, but sometimes you need it. You had a long day. I get it. Anyway, speaking of long days, the All-Star weekend just completed here in the Greater Toronto area. I'm wearing, of course, the victorious team's jersey. That would be Team Matthews winning the whole shebang.
The Leafs won more than 2 rounds. Let's go.
The Leafs won more than 2 rounds. Yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They won the final game 7-4 over Team McDavid, but we'll get there in a minute. We're going to go chronologically. So we're going to start with Thursday night, where AJ, you actually were at the player draft on Thursday night and the whole festivities there. So we'll get you to do a review of that. But I mean, I know that you and I watched everything. I at least watched everything this weekend. You saw GIFs.
I didn't watch a whole lot this weekend.
You missed a show, man.
I watched. You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, I can comment on Thursday specifically because I was watching Thursday for a bit, and then I was like, "This is really uncomfortable and really put together quite poorly, and I am losing all appeal for the weekend. And then I was like, I'm just gonna check this out later, and then I never went back.
It was really funny to me. It kind of alternated between like horribly cringe and like awesome over and over and over. Like every 10 minutes, it was like, oh god, 10 minutes of cringe, and then it was 10 minutes of like amazing television. And that basically just continued throughout the whole weekend mostly. Well, not the whole weekend, but especially Thursday night. But in any case, Thursday night there was the draft and the PWHL showcase, the 3-on-3 game
that
between the women's teams,
for.
which you were there for. So AJ, give us the lowdown, give us the Roger Ebert review of your experience at the Scotiabank Arena on Thursday night.
Well, first I'll explain my Marner, let's go, because he just scored. So
stop watching the game.
What? I'm allowed to do two things at once.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
But that first night, I mean, I went for free. I don't know how I was able to swing that, but my dad has connections, so I got in for free, which was cool, and sat right at center ice on the second deck, but it was fun. The draft was weird, but I felt that Michael Bublé being on shrooms and Will Arnett really saved it. Like, they were awesome. Tate McRae was there to be eye candy, and that's fine. And Justin Bieber just kind of did nothing other than being Justin Bieber. I mean, he did have a concert after, I think, that I wasn't there for.
He did, yeah. He did.
Because my brother insisted that we leave early, which, that's fine. So I felt that Thursday was all right. And I'm happy with what I paid for, which was nothing. So it was
well, yes.
For the price, it was decent, right? Like
it would be sad if you paid $0 and didn't get your money's worth.
That would be the All-Star game where like it wasn't the whole thing of the tickets were like $18 million.
They were not cheap.
And sit in the stairway.
Yeah, they're not cheap. But I mean, I watched it on TV, and I would agree. Some of it was really cool. Some of it was really weird. I realized like it is so difficult to do like a production on an ice rink. Like it's so much empty space.
Logistics.
Like it was so much empty space. Like
I had like the overview look of it because I was behind the stage.
Yeah.
So they had their backs turned to me. But like they filled out the ice pretty decently, and then they just put graphics over it and like just had it where like it was flashing different colors and at a nice interval. So production value wise, it looked really great. What I did hate was at first they turned all their mics on and let them like talk all over each other, and that was really bad.
A little weird.
I couldn't believe that they actually did that. Like I was gonna lose my mind if they kept that going the entire night, but thank God they didn't.
Yeah, the audio work in that weekend was a little bit spotty in spots.
I didn't watch that much, and I remember thinking, I'm like, bro, who is mixing this?
There was an anthem singer who I don't know if you saw. I think it might have been Thursday night, but I felt kind of bad.
I think Natalie Morris did the third. Yeah, Natalie did the Thursday.
Was it?
Night.
Oh, okay.
So
did somebody
she sounded
forget?
good.
Well,
because that's
there was a couple
normal singer, but everybody else not good.
There were a few not so good ones. There was one where Ron McLean on the broadcast actually mentioned that they were having trouble with their audio feeds.
I thought you were going to say Ron McLean started singing.
Well, that would be excellent television.
Wait, what?
I'd pay for that, but no, it was more that what was I going to say? You could see the anthem singer was like fidgeting with her monitors, like in her ear, and like pulling them out, and putting them back in, and I was like, I was thinking, is this person like really, really nervous? Like, what's happening here? Because she also wasn't really on pitch all that well, and I was like, this is weird.
It's just code for being a bad singer.
No. Ron McLean,
I'm a good singer, and I've proven it on this show.
Can I finish?
No. Go ahead.
Ron McLean popped on, and he's like, oh yeah, like you got to give credit to anthem singers because we've had some audio problems, and the audio coming through our monitors and our headphones was a second late. And so she was singing the national anthem and her voice was coming back into her ears a second late.
Oh God.
So she was pulling out her monitors and putting them back in. And all this stuff. And I was like, okay, now I just feel terrible.
No, that's not a Fergie.
Yeah,
I mean, even Fergie probably had some audio issues.
Yeah,
that was horrendous. But like, that's just like, I'm sympathetic to that. I would be so mortified, especially if you're a talented singer and you finally get such a big stage and then they drop the ball that hard. It feels like basics.
I've done some audio work before, and monitors are like super, super important, especially in big spaces like Scotiabank Arena. And not being able to hear yourself would be awful, let alone hearing yourself a second late. I would cry. If I were her, I would have cried. I would have crumpled up into a puddle on the floor and probably cried.
I've just been halfway through and just been like, thank you very much.
Thank you. Just walked off. Yeah, that would be the end of my career.
And then fall because it's ice.
Well, yeah, maybe. That would just be the, may as well.
There's a carpet there, though, to make sure they don't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
At that point, you may as well just fall.
She's so tilted, she walks off the carpet. I'd be.
But yes, so the All-Star game was, the All-Star game weekend was great. I thought Thursday night was, again, up and down. You know, had its moments. Michael Bublé in front of the world admitting that he's on mushrooms. One of the funniest. Awesome. One of the funniest, most hilarious moments in hockey history.
Respect.
That's a Canadian. I told my parents, I was on the phone with them last night. I was like, that's a Canadian heritage moment right there. Like that's a moment for the books of like Canadian culture. I love it.
America just don't do All-Star game the same way.
I'm okay with being the stoner cousin to America's insane uncle or whatever. Like we're the weirdos that do mushrooms and go to events and stuff, which I don't know why. I don't know what you were thinking doing that, but I mean, I guess if your buddy tells you it's a microdose of mushrooms, you're not gonna, not that we condone doing drugs, but I don't know I don't know. I wouldn't put anything like that in my system before going in front of 20,000 people. I don't know why that would happen, but anyway.
He specifies before going in front of 20,000 people.
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the PWHL game was also great. I thought it was a really, really fun couple of periods of women's hockey. It was really, really good.
Yep.
But the real show to me, I mean, that was a great show, but the real sort of production I felt was the skills competition. I don't know. To me, it like saved the idea of an all-star game for hockey. Like it was like, how did they not think of this before, or at least like tailor it this way before? Sam, how familiar are you with the results of these events, or even what events they put on?
Well, fortunately for you, I actually don't really know a whole lot other than that everyone was very mad at Kucherov.
Okay, so what I thought would be fun...
one I do know because everybody's always mad at Kucherov.
Right. What I thought would be fun was asking Sam who he thought won various events.
All right, yeah.
Based on who was
no clue.
So we'll start with shooting accuracy, and you know what that one is. It's just hit 4 styrofoam targets as fast as you can.
Who
right?
competed in it?
It was all 8 of them, or all 10 of them. What is it? 10? Yeah, 10, I think. Nikita Kucherov, Cale Makar, Connor McDavid, Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, David Pastrnak, Nathan McKinnon, William Nylander, Leon Draisaitl, and Austin Matthews.
I think some people, some didn't compete in that because that was one of the rounds before, right?
That's they didn't. Literally, like 8 of those 10 names could have won. Like everybody, I feel like it's gonna be something obnoxious, like Quinn Hughes somehow winning it. But I'm gonna out of the Pastrnak feels like the type of dude who just
everybody didn't participate in every event. They could have opted out of certain events, but those are the guys that participated in this one. David Pastrnak finished 10 seconds behind the person who won. So wrong on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait,
the winner.
McKinnon?
No, McKinnon also finished 6th.
Yes.
It was Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid shot all 4 targets in 9.1 seconds, which is crazy.
I thought it was... See, at one point when McDavid was set, I'm like, I feel like he just decided to do it and just went and killed it. And then I was like, he didn't put the effort in.
Well, him and Austin Matthews were the only 2 people to break 10 seconds, and no one else broke 14. So it was basically those 2 running away with it, which was great.
And
JT Miller,
1 shot.
He did,
well.
yeah.
So he was faster shooting wise, but couldn't hit all the targets fast enough.
Yeah, and JT Miller was 3rd at 13.5 seconds. So bit of a 2-horse race, but it was a lot of fun. There was a stick handling course, which was awesome. I thought that was a great event. basically stick handling around all kinds of various obstacles. It was Quinn Hughes, Connor McDavid, Elias Pettersson, Nikita Kucherov, Leon Draisaitl, Nathan McKinnon, David Pasternak, Matthew Barzal, and William Nylander. So it's a stick handling competition of those guys who came home with the 5 points in that event, you think?
Shit, now I know McDavid is trying.
This, like,
he made the events himself.
So,
yeah, and I know
Kucherov.
I've already written him off.
Not.
I've imagined him losing every.
Just so you know, Nikita Kucherov, it took him 44 seconds to do the course. The winner, it took them 25 seconds.
Oh man, that sounds like some McDavid shit.
So almost 20 seconds later, Kucherov crossed the line, which is incredible.
I feel like I want to say it was Elias Pettersson.
Okay, not super far off.
No,
Pettersson was 29 seconds. Connor McDavid won.
God, man, I knew it, but like I don't want to say it because it feels obvious.
Yep.
It's like
it's why
it's gonna be the one time I pick him. I'm gonna pick him for whatever the next one is. I already know, and he didn't win this one.
It was close, man. It was close.
Who was second?
Second was Matthew Barzal.
I was picking
Barzal
and Pettersson
all weekend. Barzal was awesome.
I only was going to pick
him,
to be fair, because I saw people tweeting about him because he's sick as hell.
Yeah, he was really great.
All right, Sam. Then I want to hold you to this. Fastest skater, who won that?
McDavid. No, it wasn't. I know it wasn't McDavid. It was someone else. I actually did see the tweet, but I can't remember who it was. It wasn't McDavid.
Do we tell him?
Was it McDavid?
Yeah, it was McDavid.
It's McDavid.
Never mind. I misread
it. I wanted you to second guess yourself and not do it.
I swear I remember reading a tweet that said it wasn't McDavid, but maybe
it was close. It was very, very close. Matthew Barzal was a tenth of a second behind. So the difference between third and fourth was also 1,000th of a second, which I thought was awesome. Quinn Hughes beat Cale Makar by 1,000th of a second around the ring.
Vancouver fans rejoice.
Exactly.
Quinn Hughes is the better defenseman.
And William Nylander finished last in that event, which was sad.
Yes.
I mean, just given who he's going up against, it's not that surprising.
Well, he also went first, I think, in that event. I feel like going first in these events also is a bit of a disadvantage, but he was not going to beat probably most of those guys.
I don't think he was.
I would have been shocked.
I wouldn't rate him as a higher skater,
right?
In terms of at least top end speed.
Yep.
Compared to those other names, it's not a slight on Willie.
Right, of course. The passing challenge I thought also was a really cool event.
Kucherov did fantastic here, didn't he?
No, he did not.
No, he didn't. I watched that clip.
Yeah,
that
was
one
bad.
Had me laughing.
Kucherov was so bad he was good television.
I know. I was like,
it didn't take him very long.
The All-Star.
It was like they replaced him with Marv from Home Alone and just had him
on skates. He was really funny. It was really bizarre. I thought it was hilarious. Like after about 8 seconds of him participating in this event, it felt like he knew he wasn't going to win. So he just kind of went full heel, like a WWE heel.
Yeah, like that's the vibe I got. He was like just carelessly tossing pucks and like, wasn't he like goading at the crowd?
Yes, he was. I would say though, I loved it, but after watching the actual All-Star games, what I wouldn't have given to see Kucherov replaced with like Clayton Keller, because Clayton Keller was also excellent at the All-Star game.
Clayton Keller is an excellent player, so this isn't surprising.
Right, but if you're gonna,
he would have put in.
Yes, of course, for skills. Effort. Like replace Kucherov in the skills challenge with a guy who actually seemed to give a crap.
To try.
But AJ, you had a good point about Kucherov though, where it's kind of like his brand of game to like not look super engaged all the time.
Yeah, this sort of
like
Jeff Merrick was saying it on 32 Thoughts today that he's like the biggest trap setter in the NHL, where he'll fool you because you think he's just completely out of the play, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's Kucherov.
Right.
I mean, me and you have talked about this a lot in in private.
Thanks, Sam, for getting us demonetized.
Well, we'll be all right.
With players who are just like lurking to find like the most impactful moments to jump into play and the advantage that gets them.
Yep. And then you put them out on the power play and they're disgusting and insane. But yeah, the passing challenge was also a really cool event. Kucherov did finish last. The winner though was pretty darn good. Do you have any idea of who might have won that one?
Feels like a Marner event.
Marner wasn't in the competition. Yeah, he didn't compete, unfortunately.
Oh.
It was it was
same names that you've been mentioning.
Pretty much, it's all the same group, right? Like, you had Nathan McKinnon, William Nylander, Cale Makar.
Probably McDavid.
It was not McDavid.
Oh my God!
McDavid was near the bottom, actually.
Oh my goodness!
The winner was Elias Pettersson.
I would picked him for something else.
Yeah, Pettersson, Makar, Barzal were the top three in that one. And
that would have been like, at least I would have said Pettersson and Makar.
Yeah. But that one was really cool too. I thought that event was awesome.
Suck at this.
Another one I also really loved. I loved all of it, but like the one timers was a really cool addition. The different.
That's got to be a Pasternak one, right?
No,
he almost won.
He tied. He almost won.
Close.
Tied for second. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon won by 1 point.
Not picking the right people.
But I thought the way they did it was super, super cool. They had like scoring areas around the perimeter of the net that were different levels of points, and you had, I think, 9 shots and 3 shots from 3 different spots in the offensive zone where you took one-timers. And some of the guys, it's kind of blew my mind. Some of the guys were their best when they were taking one-timers from like the bottom of the face-off circle.
Yeah.
Like not the top, not on the face-off dot, but the bottom
was really
of the
good from there.
Pettersson too, I thought, or no, yeah, Pettersson too from that area. Like Pettersson missed every one-timer until like the end. And then right along the goal line, he shelved like all of them, which was pretty crazy.
What a weird angle.
Yeah, but I guess these guys practice that a lot. I don't know, but it was wild.
What a weird angle to be so comfortable with when you're uncomfortable with some of the other ones. Man.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it's like a mathematical thing that at that angle, the scoring areas are technically their biggest, but that also doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know. But the point is, Nathan McKinnon took that one. We went over fastest skater. The other really cool one was 1-on-1. So there was the final 8 players went 1-on-1 against goaltenders of their choice. So they basically drafted the goalies they wanted to go 1-on-1 against.
Or Kevin Weeks picked them in some cases.
Right. Yes. Or Kevin Weeks picked them. Yes. But the final 8, based on the points from the original rounds, was Nylander, McKinnon, JT Miller, Austin Matthews, Elias Pettersson, Matthew Barzal, Cale Makar, and Connor McDavid. Out of those guys, 1-on-1, we talk about 1-on-1 all the time, about how, what are you thinking?
See, it's now become a trick question.
It is.
Because the answer is probably McDavid.
I don't know.
My answer in my head is this is one where McDavid came like second or third because somebody, either Barzal, Makar, or Pettersson did something disgusting. Actually, JT Miller would be probably doing some disgusting things.
You know what's so awesome,
too.
Sam? You're so wrong. It's awesome. Like, it's unbelievable
it's great.
how
Well,
wrong
the opposite.
Did those
William
4 do
Nylander
trash?
and
William
Austin
Nylander
Matthews
won.
were 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And
It's okay. I
McDavid was
wasn't going to give
second
them credit
last
anyways.
in
Yeah.
that event.
McDavid handed Georgiev a $100,000.
Yeah.
a $100,000 check for making the most saves, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I thought the skills competition, it's like, yeah, once you give them an incentive to like, you could win money by winning this thing. It's like, yeah, I would like an extra $1 million to walk around with.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense why they would 100% have all like actually make them want to play.
Does Connor McDavid need $1 million? Who cares?
Absolutely.
I'm sure he's happy to have it. His future children will appreciate it. Thank you, Daddy, for making $16 million instead of 15 in 2024. That's very nice of you.
That makes sense on top of just like they're all big money players at that event, and they could all use that extra $1 million, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Or you could donate it to me, please, Connor. Please.
Didn't you Connor just get free tickets to the thing? You ain't top of the donation priority.
It doesn't matter.
You're a little low down the priority pile there, buddy.
I accept all forms of charity towards me.
I'm sure you do.
But I mean, I think the NHL has a formula here for the future.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was great television. Like, people I know who weren't huge hockey fans were really into it, which is a big barometer.
They got to find a way to like emulate the intensity that the NBA dunk competition brings.
Yeah.
The NBA dunk competition is without question the most exciting like all-star event that can happen. Levine and Gordon years and years and years ago is still just trenched in my head. And I don't know if I've ever had an All-Star weekend have some skill event that where I was like, it was iconic to
let me tell you, if you watched this one,
maybe, I mean,
this would have been pretty close. Those one-on-ones were pretty cool.
You're not the only person who was speaking highly of it, which kind of caught me off guard because normally the sentiment by the end of NHL All-Star weekend is,
yeah, no, it was great.
Other sports do this a lot better.
Even the games on Sunday were great. Obviously, Team Matthews was the one that won, obviously, because I'm wearing the blue colors, and they obviously did it for me. So I'm waiting for the fraction of my check in the mail.
Blue earns.
They drafted the most fun team by far out of all of them. Like, they got Philip Forsberg towards the end of the draft, I think.
Yeah, Alex DeBrincat towards the end, too.
Yeah, and he was arguably their best player. Like, Philip Forsberg in the All-Star games was outrageous. Like,
Forsberg's such an outrageous player.
I was talking about this with someone. If Philip Forsberg weren't in Nashville, I feel like he'd be a superstar. Like,
I mean, he is a superstar talent on the ice. So
yeah, but if you ask a regular hockey fan, name the 10 best NHL players, Philip Forsberg might not be on their list. And to me, Philip Forsberg is, well, yeah, but like, he's not far off. He's unreal. Like, he's ridiculous.
I don't think he sniffs top 10. I'm sorry, Will. He's a very good player, but that's a really tough conversation.
I see where you're coming from.
If you want to,
the reality is there's only like 6 dudes in the NHL who are like slam dunk top 10 guys. That's usually how it is. There's like 5 or 6 guys who are just like the clear top tier, tier and a half, and then there's like 30 guys. Let's say 20 guys who are all in this one tier, and whoever the top like 4 or 5 are the top 10 players at that time. In reality, it's like,
well, the point is he's great, plays on a not so great team in a small market, but if he played somewhere else, I bet he'd be huge. But yeah, I enjoyed the games as well. 3-on-3 was a lot of fun. You know, obviously the best team won. That makes sense.
Go Leafs, go. I don't know.
Well,
Montreal Canadiens didn't win.
Well, Nick Suzuki didn't really do much, unfortunately.
I didn't hear a zip or a zoot about that. What he did at the All-Star
played with Boone Jenner, and Boone Jenner had a bunch of goals.
Yeah, the other teams kind of just drafted hockey teams, whereas the blue team went for like the guys that can score, and the 3-on-3 team that would be the most fun to watch. Like, I don't know. I was kind of surprised to see some of
the on that team.
The what?
Who played defense? Riley, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. There was only one defenseman in the draft, and it was Rasmus Dahlin. And who drafted him? The one team that didn't have a defenseman. So yeah, there was only one defenseman in the draft, and the team that didn't have a defenseman drafted him. And every team drafted all their teammates, except I also love that the Vancouver Canucks team basically didn't draft Elias Lindholm. That was also funny to me.
They probably would have. I just think that Tate McRae got sentimental that her one Calgary Flame was going away.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I decided I think I'm going to get this jersey numbered with Clayton Keller because I don't have a Clayton Keller jersey, and he deserves it in my closet.
That.
It was either that or Philip Forsberg. They both were the same number, so I guess I could mash both names together. That was really confusing. Multiple players wearing the same number on different teams. That was weird.
That is weird.
I think Toronto, the blue team.
Trocheck and Marner.
216s. Yeah, 216s, 2 9s.
That's a terrible
it was
idea.
weird.
That's a stupid idea.
A little strange, but in any case, it was a good
get one of those jerseys and get Caulfield's number added to it just to confuse people.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money to light on fire, unfortunately. But anyway, we can move on. But anyway, it was a great weekend. I had a lot of fun, and there was plenty of things to enjoy. And I hope next year is more of the same. Do we know where the All-Star game is next year? I don't think they told anyone.
I don't know.
My house.
Okay, I don't think they've announced it. Anyway, so Sam, the Montreal Canadiens traded Sean Monahan.
Team. Yes, they did.
To the Winnipeg Jets for a first-round pick and probably just a first-round pick.
Yes, they did.
So your initial thoughts? I'm curious.
I mean, it's the same as everybody else's. It's a huge win of a move. You got paid a first to acquire an asset who then was flipped for another first. That's 2 firsts for something that quite literally did nothing but make the team temporarily better in the middle of a tank stage and give them a top 6 forward that can, help. I mean, I can't say do more than that because we're not a good team. So it's like saying more than help would be like overestimating what he was doing. But like, I like Sean Monahan with the Montreal Canadiens. I like Sean Monahan as a player. I hope he does really well with the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
I think he will. They've got great talent to surround him with. He's a really good player. I find he's one of those players that people like misidentified years ago when he was playing with Calgary as like this defensive first, like forecheck. You know how he just had this Remember when I watched him at Montreal, I was like, I mean, I knew he wasn't what people said he was, but like he's literally one of the furthest players from his reputation I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
He's not what I thought, but he was great. I still like to have him, and getting a first out of that while we still haven't even spent the other first. But it's, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, look,
Kent Hughes. These are the deals that you love Kent Hughes for because he's just brilliant at this type of asset management.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, it's a late first round pick. So it's like you'll get maybe a guy out of it, right? Like everybody always overrates like a late first round pick, but to get that for him after getting one to take him is pretty good.
I mean, it's what I've said a couple of times before to you. We're not going to use the pick. We're going to trade it for the next underperforming 2019 or 2020 draft play.
Exactly.
Like I'm telling
you
right now, if a deal happens in the summer, that pick is going to in the Zegras deal. If the Zegras deal happens,
okay.
Like mark my words.
There's no way.
Mark my words.
Not Montreal. There's no way Montreal's going to go out and get Trevor Zegras.
No,
it's too much fun.
But if he does,
go to Philly with his boy Jamie Drysdale.
I mean, I'm just saying if they do, because if it's not him, they're going to look and grab somebody else. Like they want to be better in the next 2 or 3 years. That's very obvious. If they do this by just drafting, they're going to be very disappointed because they're not taking the high impact guys they need to. So trading those picks to grab guys who are already in their early 20s waiting to pop are probably the right move. Like Newhook, definitely worth more than he was at the time of the trade.
Sure.
Kirby Doc, absolutely worth more than at the time of the trade.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a win for Winnipeg too. Like we were watching, AJ and I were watching some Sean Monahan earlier today, and centers are important. He's a pretty good one. He's not bad. He doesn't make their team worse. You know, it's not like they're going out and getting Nick Foligno. You know, it's just he's a good center to have in the middle.
Like Sean Monahan on your team.
Yeah, I'd much rather have Sean Monahan and. Is it Adam Lowry? It's Adam Lowry, right?
Yes, it's not.
It's not Andrew Kopp.
Yeah, who I actually
the two guys
with JT Compher all the time, but you get confused with Adam Lowry.
I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I'd rather have him and Adam Lowry as 2 and 3 rather than Adam Lowry and Vlad Namestnikov. And I like Namestnikov, but like
that feels. I like Lowry too. Lowry's
pretty good, but
a solid like third line center to have.
Yeah. Now they're 3 solid centers deep. They probably have room for maybe another guy.
Namestnikov, right? Like, because that's your 4C now. That's where he's playing.
Yep.
And that's not a bad spot for Vlad Namestnikov. Remember, he was drafted ahead of Nikita Kucherov.
Yes.
So was I.
And I mean, after watching who would have put on a better show at the skills competition, Vlad Namestnikov or Nikita Kucherov?
Definitely Kucherov.
These are important.
Still, I don't care.
This is why
him being a heel was so worth
puck
it.
Preps. You got the questions.
These are hard hitting questions. These are the ones we need to ask. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good trade for both teams. We'll see what happens. Like you said, Montreal could flip the picks and get something for them, and who knows what. The other thing I like too is that it's like Sean Monahan came and went, and all the things that were involved in the Sean Monahan trades haven't happened yet. Like the first round pick is for this coming season, and the one they got from Calgary is next year.
Yep.
So that's kind of neat. So now basically you've banked up 2 first round picks for a guy that isn't even there anymore.
In this draft, assuming we don't even make any more deals, which we may not. I don't know.
And you didn't even have to retain him, which is nice.
Nope.
Yep. It was already a $2 million deal or something like that, and retaining on that would have been nothing.
Kent Hughes is doing outside of one specific day that just happens to be around the end of June, early July every year, Kent Hughes has been a fantastic general manager.
They got 21 draft picks this year and next year.
That's awesome.
Also,
wait, they have
21 times to disappoint.
Wait,
Sam.
I know that.
Shut up, AJ.
You know I'm right. It's okay.
2 firsts this year, 2 seconds.
Nope. 2 firsts and a second.
Isn't there 2 seconds this year?
I'm looking right at it. There's only one. They traded theirs. They have Colorado's.
Poop. Okay, so
2/3, a fourth, 2 fifths, 3 7th-round picks this year.
Sweet.
So you can swing on all your 6'8" Russian goaltenders who play in Siberia.
It's a strategy. I've been.
Why not?
I stacked it in the fantasy league a few years ago, and I've been looking at it. I'm like, this is kind of working out.
Yeah, just a bunch of Russian goalies.
By just pure numbers and fluke. I'm like, some of these guys are turning into prospects.
Have we figured out the goalies are voodoo thing? Just big Russian goalies who stop pucks.
I swear, it just makes... It's one of those ones where you don't even need to go crazy into analytics. You just need to open up all the drafts, filter by just goalie, and go back for to 2000 and just go, wow, those first 4 rounds are spooky. And it seems like all the Russian dudes are available in the second half of the draft.
Yep. I mean, they're goalies. You may as well take your swing late.
Honestly, if you don't have the ability to develop the forwards and defenders you're taking there, they're not going to pan out. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You need to have such a clear path for them.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is a deal for Monahan. I think it's a good deal for both teams, and makes the Jets better, and could make the Red Wings, could make the Canadians better too. We'll see.
I mean, it would have to be a disaster for it to not at least make some level of positive influence.
So you're saying Jesse Pulkkinen in the first round this year?
I'm saying Will, shut up.
Trust your feelings. You know it to be true. So, I mean, you're more familiar with Sean Monahan than I am. How do you than I Monahan? But do you how much does this move the needle for the Winnipeg Jets? Do you think? Because I from what I could see of Sean Monahan, he's not gonna put you over the top. It's not like getting Steven Stamkos for a rental. He's a good player.
When do you see rentals of that caliber, right? In terms of rentals going for cup run, I mean, Sean Monahan's about as how many forwards in recent years have gone at the deadline and been players that can actually play in the top 6 as a center, and their fan base goes
for $2 million.
Good
for $2 million.
For $2 million too. So he fits in the cat. There's just not a lot of situations like this because you don't find players who are so consistently hurt only to be healthy and finally back and be like, oh wait, he's still Sean Monahan.
Yeah.
It's a rare situation, and Winnipeg's a team that gets benefit from him. Depends on it doesn't really depend, but what combination of wingers they use with Scheifele and which ones go with Monahan will be very interesting.
So right now,
regardless,
they have
what is it right now?
Velarde, Scheifele, and Connor, and with Monahan,
is it Ehlers going to be?
Yeah, it's Ehlers and Perfetti.
That's
a good group of 6.
That's a
really good group of 6.
Okay, I was thinking all I wanted to say was I feel like Ehlers should be the player to go with Monahan. I really love love Ehlers.
That's probably a fair take, yeah.
And Ehlers and Monahan are kind of really complementary players. They both got excellent vision.
Yeah.
You can really get some awesome open ice attacks going with it. I wonder if that line might get playoff crunched. Just by proxy of the rule book not being a thing anymore, and them now not having to them having to account for just blatant penalties being committed on them.
Yeah.
You can't really I get frustrated by the fact that you have to account for that because in theory that line should tear up the playoffs. I adore Perfetti's game.
It's a good it's a good second line.
That's
to
a
have.
Great line.
It's not a bad group of players to have on your second line. It's quite good.
Rider on your third line with Adam Lowry and Mason Appleton.
Pretty good.
Then Vlad Namestnikov, Alex Iafallo, and Morgan Barron. There's a guy. There's 2 guys in there, and Alex Iafallo on your fourth line.
And he's gone deep. He's got that playoff experience.
That's damn solid, man.
He's been around for a while. Yeah.
And to all of you who think that we're crazy for thinking that the Jets are better than the Canucks, Ito Vienna sausage, all right? Because they're really good.
All right, you heard it here first.
Eat a Vienna sausage. Passionate Italian.
Yeah, now I'm hungry. I could go for.
I was gonna say something way more vulgar, but I just thought, why do that when I can say
Vienna sausage? Outside of this awesome awesome. Cringy rivalry that's evolved between Winnipeg and Montreal fans online since Scheifele decided to unalive Evans in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Which and I like Mark Scheifele a lot, and I still like him as a player. Still think that was a bit of a
That was wild.
That was a
wild moment in hockey.
That was
for sure.
a rat move.
That was crazy.
Through. But beyond that, I mean, also Gallagher's done some rat stuff to them. So it's just a ratty rivalry.
Well, welcome to the NHL playoffs, right?
Yeah, it's a ratty rivalry.
It's a little weird.
These two teams. Both teams are very guilty in this.
Well,
I think the Jets are in a good position. My favorite piece for that team will always be Connor Hellebuck.
Well, yes. Yeah, that guy is a monster.
Agreed.
Yep. And as a team, as a guy who watched Carey Price for many a year and can appreciate what a goalie can do to a team when they're bad, that's a good team. And Connor Hellebuck's one of the 3 or 4 goalies where I look at him I will always bet on you.
Yeah.
I will even though even the best goalies still sometimes, ain't having it in the playoffs, I will always bet on Connor Hellebuck.
So the Winnipeg Jets currently sit 2 points behind. They're the leading team in their division, but they have 2 games in hand. Do you think the Winnipeg Jets are in the Stanley Cup this spring? I mean, you're a Habs fan, so you kind of have to hope that they are because you want that 3rd round pick, right?
In 2027, baby.
In 2027, when I'm 68 years old, it's gonna be a while.
You're
but
not even gonna be 38, Will. Stop trying to gain pity for yourself.
What are if the playoffs started today, what would the matchups be? Since we're at that time of year where we can really kind of get a feel for this.
Winnipeg would be playing just by points percentage.
Yeah,
they would be playing the second lowest wild card, the top wild card team. So that would be the LA Kings. Yeah, it looks like the LA Kings, which would be a good series. I feel like the Jets would. I feel like the Jets would take it. But yeah, that'd be a good series.
I mean, I think a Winnipeg run to the Cup Finals would be a lot of fun. For some, I do believe in the team more this year than
that
recent.
That arena
that I love
would be out of control. That they come for the playoffs. They show up and they are insane. Is there anything they need from here? Looking up and down the Winnipeg roster, because I mean, I'm kind of slowly getting on the bandwagon here. What do they need? And I mean, again, I'm on the bandwagon now that Winnipeg Jets are going to start sucking for sure. Now that I'm saying, hey, maybe this team could do stuff.
Look at what happened to the LA Kings.
Yeah, look at what happened to LA.
I want to make a general comment towards the defensive core, but as someone who actually hasn't, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, their D-core needs work. It's not like I've been watching it intensely.
So their defense right now is Joshua Morrissey, Nate Schmidt, Neil Pionk, Brendan Dillon, Dylan DeMello, Dylan Sandberg, a lot of D words.
Yeah, really.
And Logan Stanley.
Yeah, you could definitely
feel like there's room there.
Defenders.
I don't see Logan Stanley here.
I'm looking at Cap Friendly.
I'm looking at Daily Face-Off, and
he's listed on their 7th defenseman.
Oh, okay.
See,
but he doesn't even appear there on Daily Face-Off.
There won't be a major upgrade that you could get to make a massive influence. And it's not like there's a top 4 defender sitting around for them to grab at the deadline or anything like that. Right. So I think Jets fans would probably know whether it's mostly just tweaking at this point. It feels like you can't make the move anymore. You just did actually by grabbing Sean Monahan, which seems like it was the bigger priority. Morrissey's really good. Pionk is really good. Those are 2 defenders who I like.
Yeah.
DeMello's fine, I think.
Yeah, DeMello's fine.
DeMello's always been a fine player. Brendan Dillon's a solid. He's just a solid hockey player.
I think he slowed down a bit in recent years, but he's still just fine. Ville Heinola is listed here, not playing, but on IR.
Well, yeah,
as a potential guy that could come in at some point, maybe. But they probably won't play him because they never do.
They have the cap space to make some moves too, so they could get a little bit creative here, which is nice.
I think maybe making a move for a defender just on the chance of them having some really good,
I think depth.
Where is
defense,
Schmidt playing?
Yeah, I would say depth on defense.
He's playing 3rd pair.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, sure.
Just see if there's a move to possibly upgrade, but if it doesn't work out, then don't go crazy.
Joel Edmondson?
No.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, and I can tell you, no, that's not the type of that ain't gonna fix the problem.
Who
How
else
does
is on
Mike
here?
Matheson have left on his deal, huh?
Oh my God! Don't throw that out there.
How much can Montreal squeeze out of what they've got?
Oh my God!
To be fair,
Yeah, I mean Michael Matheson is good.
Yeah, he is
pretty good.
That's why
to
I'm
be
saying that.
fair. I mean, he's on a great deal, $4.875 million until 2026.
Mike Matheson would be a pretty good. That guy can play.
He's got an
Yeah, he
8-team no trade list.
So Winnipeg's probably on it.
I don't think I would trade him unless someone was like the reason. Here's
There's
why
no reason to do it. Like,
Yeah.
especially because we just took their first. Like, what are they going to do?
like the
Pay us
NHL
the
is
rest of
not
their picks?
NHL 24. Like
Yeah,
Michael
no.
Matheson is outside of David Savard, who is David Savard, the only defenseman they have playing night in, night out generally who is over 23 years old. Like I
don't
just
trade Matheson.
I don't think you
unless
trade Matt.
get,
Like that's the guy you keep through the rebuild as like your guy while the
he
other guys
stepped
come
into
along.
what Petrie was supposed to be.
Yes, 100%.
Without question. And they were a literal swap for each other. I
Yeah.
feel like you just keep Matheson and roll him out. And if people want to squander about asset management, then get a
Trade Tanner Pearson for a 4th round pick instead. I don't know.
Yeah, like
You don't trade
Good
Matheson,
luck
I don't
trading
think.
him. I think.
Yeah, I
after
don't know.
that, you know?
He's just he's their only UFA outside of Chris Weidman. That's it. That's all they got. Arbor Xhekaj is an RFA, but other than that, that's it.
apparently he's untouchable.
Like
All
if
right,
Winnipeg
then.
wants to go
I don't know if
ham,
Montreal thinks
Sean
so.
Walker does not cost much in terms
No.
of his cap. So if you really push all your chips in, get him half
That would be a
retained,
good deal.
which would mean he's on a $1.325 million deal.
I'd do it.
Yep.
No problem. No problem for me.
Like, go for it, right? He's awesome.
I mean, yeah, they've given up a 1st round pick. They're clearly going for it. They want to take down the Canucks. They want to take down the Avalanche. They want to go for it.
Yeah.
So you may as well push all your chips in. Like you're getting a godly season from your goaltender. You've got a pretty good group of forwards. You're scoring. I would say add a defenseman, make life a little easier for Hellebuck for once, and just ride off into the sunset and hope you go deep.
I agree.
So flipping things around, let's see where the Montreal Canadiens are. I mean, we kind of talked about it recently, just in the last couple of minutes. We have it written here in the notes that we should check up on Juraj Slafkovsky now that he's had a few more games since our takes earlier in the year on him. Our viral video talking about Juraj Slafkovsky that we were decently lukewarm on him but not warm enough, I suppose. But anyway, AJ, you and I watched a bit of him today, and he's looking quite good.
I'm not even gonna lie.
You know,
the one game I saw, he looked awesome.
Yeah, like he's turning himself into a pretty useful NHL hockey player.
Yeah, he's a good hockey.
He's a good hockey player.
Always like in the refinement and the details are all coming in. Like he's not like some
bozo.
Yeah, he was never in like.
Yeah, no, he was never
he
that.
Was a player we didn't value as a top 5 pick in a draft. Like he was a top 5 player in a.
Yeah,
I liked the 2022 draft. I didn't think that was a bad draft. So like, he was a good player. He was always one, and he was like we were having conversations back then. I remember you said Tom Wilson without the scumbag or something like that, and it's just like that's a good player. Like
yeah, you'll take it.
Those are all. He's going to be a great contribution to the top 6. He's not a high-end first overall superstar, and I'm still not, I actually haven't watched much of him too much lately. I was, impressed the last few viewings, but I watched Logan Cooley and was like, yo, you're so close.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Cooley is so close to being like, already like you watch him and you're like, oh wow.
The thing about Slafkovsky,
so close.
The thing about him is like he's getting there. You can see the pieces there, and like it's the whole thing with him is
effective.
Yeah, he's very effective, and the whole thing is that a guy you draft first overall, but he's not done developing. He's only 21, 20 now.
You can absolutely say it was worth taking him over at this point in time. I think you can have that. I think, and I, as someone who was on, like, I took right. So it's like, yeah, okay.
He's 19, by the way. He's about to turn 20 in March.
Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, okay. I definitely see where, like, why one would take Slafkovsky over Wright.
Right.
Get
the whole but my counter is like, I mean, when Slafkovsky was drafted, I did not think he was going to be in the NHL day one. No. I did not. That if I were drawing up the plans for him, I did not think that that's what would happen. And he was not good last year. Like, he was not.
He was
great.
Struggling.
He was having trouble, but it seems to be working itself out.
Yep.
He's clearly in a situation. The Montreal Canadiens are not good. So he's clearly in a situation where it's just like, learn the ropes on the fly. If we lose every game, we don't care. Just get better and better and better.
Yep.
And that seems to be what's happening. The Seattle Kraken, I think, are taking a little bit more of a calculated approach, especially because they see themselves as a playoff team, right? It's like we were talking about Fabian Lysell earlier in the day.
I wonder why.
About how. Well, yeah, I wonder why.
Too. I was literally about to say.
But it was like, who do you take out of Boston's top six for a Fabian Lysell?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Right? Slafkovsky's in such a, well, I mean, I'd say unique position, but first overall players usually go to bad teams. So
right.
Like, he's not necessarily in a unique position, but Shane Wright is not, they're not equivalent situations yet. All I mean is that you can look at Slafkovsky and see, like, okay, I do see why someone would want this more than what Shane Wright brings.
Sure.
Less of a statement on which one will be better once we're in 2028, but
yeah,
right now, Slafkovsky, he's doing a lot of the right things and he's getting much more involved in the play. He's just frequently near the puck. He's a puck hound. When he has the puck, guys are really struggling to get it off of him. He's getting it out into teammates, just moving in motion. Like, and then he's quickly gathering himself and kind of trying to just get to the next spot.
Yeah.
He's still not going to be some crazy open ice attacker, but there's nothing inherently wrong with that. When the playoffs come around, I'm going to be sitting there watching Slafkovsky play playoff hockey. I'm going to go, I'm happy.
Like, he'll be a good playoff player. He'll be good. I mean, the other thing too is 2022, looking back already, is looking like a pretty good group of players. Like, we knew it was a good class at the time, but Simon Nemec, for what he does, has been pretty good.
That's the one that I feel like shocks me the most, because there's always something. I remember just always having this hesitation with Nemec, and now I see him in the NHL. I'm like, well,
he's still the same player.
He's the exact. Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's like wild watching him be the exact same player and still be just as effective at the NHL as he was in the Slovak league. It's
like the puck skill and the skating and the speed in a straight line is great. It's just the defensive stuff is a work in progress, but that's okay. The Devils have a bunch of guys like that.
I think that's a nice way to say it.
Sure.
I didn't expect
good.
It's not ideal.
The offense to be such a clean projection in a league. Like, a day one puck on his stick and he's the exact same player.
Right.
It's like, it's such a tremendous leap.
He scored 2 points in his debut, I think, as well. I know he scored at least one.
Yeah, he did.
And you know what? It's all about how many points you score in your debut. Austin Matthews scored 4, and he was a superstar since.
Ever.
Ryan Poehling scored 3 goals in his, and he's been the best player in the league since.
He's the best player that ever lived. Yeah. I mean, another guy, not from 2020, but Shakir Mukhamadullin is now in the NHL.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I watched a bit of that game where he made his debut, and he is Shakir Mukhamadullin. He's big. He skates pretty well. I saw him almost get scored on. He cross-checked a guy in the corner, and in cross-checking him, he dropped his stick on the ice. And it took him about 4 seconds to pick it up, which was very funny to me and almost got scored on, but I digress. It was his first NHL game. Welcome to the show. But Shakir Mukhamadullin, NHL hockey player. You know what?
I didn't think Shakir Mukhamadullin. Wow. I did not think Shakir. I'm gonna overthink how to say his name. So
Mukhamadullin.
Never struggled to say his name before.
Yeah, Shakir. Everybody knows who you're talking about. There's only one.
I know. Just never struggled to say his name until suddenly I started thinking about how to say.
Until you're on camera.
Stage fright.
Yeah.
Shaki M.
Yeah.
Is playing in the NHL is kind of one of those like, Really didn't see that one coming. I remember watching him like after the draft, after he was drafted, and just being like, was I wrong in watching him being like, man, if this guy gets like actually hits NHL upside, I'm gonna reevaluate some things.
The question has to be asked: did Toronto get a steal in Fraser Minton by playing him 4 games when guys like Denton Matejchuk and Connor Geekie have played 0? That's the real questions we need to ask.
No, they all
do the
suck.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's the answer. No, they're all fine.
Yeah. No, they're all fine. But yeah, I mean, but that 2022 class, like, yeah, Slafkovsky's looked really good. But there's a number of players where it's like, you know what? If you swap out Slafkovsky for how Pavel Mintyukov has been playing in Anaheim, Simon Nemec in New Jersey, even Logan Cooley in Arizona. I felt David Jiricek has been pretty good this year.
Jiricek is awesome.
He's been pretty good.
He's not been called the 13-year-old girl. Yes.
Well, the Montreal Canadiens seem to run with that strategy, treat the Amazon treatment, right? So if you're unaware, David Jiricek and his desire to play in the NHL was equated by his head coach in the NHL to his 13-year-old daughter wanting a car, and how kids these days are used to getting everything as soon as they want it. The Amazon factor said that to the media, which blows my mind. Brilliant.
I'm going to be going on Locked On Blue Jackets. I can't wait to have this conversation.
Yeah, keep that one in your back
Congrats,
pocket.
You're only like a week and a half late, Sam, to the party.
Yeah, only.
I already know about it, but like I'm saying, like I can't wait to talk. I'm going on to talk about just a prospect, but like I can't wait to go and just have that conversation.
Show with that.
Yeah, we always find some way to derail the show.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it. Logan Cooley, 4-game point streak, by the way. Anyway, so
shout out
Sam,
to Noah Ostlund, who exists in that draft, and Lane Hudson, and Seamus Casey.
It's a
and
good
Jagger
group.
Furcus.
I do want to put out before we move on.
Yes.
Just going back to Slafkovsky recently, he's looked really fun. Like I very much enjoyed watching the game of him today. I was mainly watching Sean Monahan, but Sean Monahan was just kind of being fine, which that's what Sean Monahan is. And Slav was getting involved in the play. He was throwing backhand passes behind the net on multiple occasions and like actually connecting on them and creating chances. It was really fun to watch. Would I take him over Shane Wright? You could twist my arm and I'd say yes. Would I take him over Logan Cooley? Logan Cooley's just insane, man. Like, he's got the talent.
Yeah, like, I'm not taking anybody from that draft over Logan Cooley right now.
And everything we've said now goes in the toilet for Habs fans.
Yes,
absolutely.
But
everything we've said about Slafkovsky is now in the toilet.
But could you convince me to take him at 2 over Brad Lambert? Maybe. Probably. Definitely not. But you know what? He could comfortably sit at 3. And that's still fine. That's still fine. There's guys.
Yeah, he was 4. He was 4 on my list. Like that's not. Yeah, he's a good player. He's turning out to be a pretty solid dude.
I think he was 5 for me.
Yeah,
I think the crazy one is the fact that like Nemec was 6 because I had the actual spook concerns with Nemec, and now Nemec is looking sick, and I'm like, well, let's just see how this plays out. But
both.
Dang,
he's alternating between sick and oh my god, he is ill.
I'm so curious how he ends up though, because like my whole thing was like, well, the defense isn't really gonna work, and the offense is gonna work, but to what extent? And the offense is already exceeding my expectations from like day one, and I'm like, okay, well, this did. I'm very curious where this one goes.
Well, we'll see. Well, from a promising potential team in the Montreal Canadiens, we go to a team that is floundering, the LA Kings. We don't want to spend too much time on this, but they fired Todd McClellan, the guy notorious for we're not that bad, but tonight we were bad, and a couple weeks later he's fired.
We played stupid.
We played stupid, I think is what he said. Yes, you're right. And they brought in DJ Smith today to be an assistant coach to Jim Hillier, who is the temporary head coach filling in for Todd McClellan.
What, Ottawa DJ Smith?
Yes, Ottawa DJ Smith is now behind the bench in LA.
Soon they'll bring in Mike Babcock and reunite the whole gang.
Dude, the LA Kings are a team where it's like the Ottawa Senators to me. It's like the Ottawa Senators brought in DJ Smith, and I'm just thinking that doesn't seem like a good fit for what the Senators kind of want to be with guys like Stützle and Brandstrom and Batherson and Norris.
And this is a a team with a lot of like raw skill.
Yeah,
Kings, and it's like, what do you?
I mean, the Kings are pretty physical. The Kings are pretty heavy.
You could say that about the Senators, though, and you can say that they kind of tilted in the wrong direction as a result of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's more towards the Senators' bottom of the lineup as opposed to the top. Like
Yes.
you got like Brady Tkachuk, sure, is the one obvious exception, but guys like Tim Stützle and Drake Batherson definitely don't lean that way. LA is just big.
Yep.
But they're
except
big,
Trevor Moore.
Mean.
Trevor Moore
except
isn't
Trevor
big.
Moore. And who else? There's their like Blake Lizotte.
Oh yeah, he's tiny, but he plays like he's 6'9".
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love Blake Lizotte. I've got time for him all day.
But yeah, like I think it makes more sense than the way Ottawa was built beyond the bottom six.
That is true. Yeah, I agree with that.
But also, it's
not like he's a
so
head
funny
coach
to me,
too,
right? Like DJ Smith, Mark Bergevin, now in LA.
Classic.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting he's there.
Yeah.
Isn't he a
Cringe
special
every time I
advisor
hear his
to
name.
the
Yeah,
general
he's a special.
manager?
Oh, he's something special. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in LA. I mean, I gotta believe they'll turn it around. They've been so bad for the last month and a half.
And they were so good.
And they were so good before. Like I mentioned it on the TikTok I made. Santa Claus brought them something, and ever since Santa Claus showed up, the LA Kings have been a nightmare. I don't know what they did over Christmas.
Brought them coal.
Yeah, I don't know, or something. Lacing their BioSteel with NyQuil or something. Like I don't know, something weird. But Santa clearly is not an LA Kings fan.
No. Slide me that water.
What?
Can you slide me that water?
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Sam's dehydrated.
Sam is dehydrated. Thank you.
He's been thinking about Yuri Slafkovsky for too long, and now his mouth is dry.
Weird.
Yeah, no. Anyway, but yeah, I mean the LA Kings. I mean, I have to hope that they're going to turn it around. They have to. They're a bit of a mess. You know, I like Todd McClellan. He coaches fun teams, but I guess if it's time to go, it's time to go.
But Will, do you think
fun team?
Oh,
What?
okay. Do you think that they should what should they do at the deadline? That's what I'm thinking here. Do you think they stand pat? Do you think they
my answer
go
is
for it,
you
or what
wait.
do you do?
Like you see how the next month goes because you've got a while, right? It's early March, right?
I think we're about
Is it?
a month away. Just
Yeah,
over
it's March
a month.
8th. So you've got a month. And think about how bad the LA Kings have been in the last 5-6 weeks. You've got 5 weeks to right the ship, right? Like, are you what you were in October, November, or are October, November, December, or are you what you are now? And if you are what you are now, then we're taking away all your toys and trying again next year.
That's a good way of saying
Well,
it.
I
Right,
also
like-
think- sorry, you go. I've interrupted.
I was just going to
say.
say, I think right now there's not much you can say either way. You
Yeah.
kind of just have to say, let's see how the coach goes. Let's see where this goes. I
roll
don't,
with it.
again, I don't think they're this bad. Like they've been so bad. They're down with like Montreal, San Jose, and Chicago for like a lot of their possession numbers. I think
What
that's
you trying to say?
well, they're all bad. Those are bad teams.
Wow.
So LA must be bad then,
Interesting.
Will.
They've been bad, but I cannot believe that they went from so good at the beginning of the year to this
No,
point.
that's
It's
something fundamentally broke. And I don't know. It's just so the question is the roster is very clear. Like once next year starts, everybody's back in okay, Kings are gunning for the playoffs again. So it's like, can whatever broke this year be fixed in time before the deadline to get the momentum to kind of be heading back into the playoffs or not? Like the roster itself is a playoff caliber roster. If they're putting up numbers equivalent to Montreal, it's because Montreal's also a playoff caliber.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's because we suck and that the Kings are unfortunately going through something.
like if Seattle catches up to them, you know, and they start losing sight of teams like St. Louis, then maybe I start thinking about switching gears a little bit. But I'm holding fast. I'm holding on to that wagon until it goes under the lake, you know? I'm trying.
Yeah.
Well, they got to figure out their goaltending too. Like,
well, that too,
Cam, I knew this wouldn't last.
Well, Cam Talbot is never the guy.
No,
Like they've tried to make him the guy in a bunch of places, and he's been like fine, but not good enough.
well, David
and,
Riddick has his starting job now.
Yeah,
right,
David Riddick is their starting goaltender, which again, if you had that on your bingo card at the beginning of the year.
Wait, is David Riddick actually?
David Riddick has one of
Yes.
the best save percentages in the National Hockey League right now.
Sam's
I knew he
face
was
is
having
priceless.
a year, but I just didn't.
Yeah.
No, I knew he was having a year, but like, man,
Yeah.
I have him in a fantasy league, and he's just like been an asset that I've held on to because it's like, well, I don't know what else to do with him, but it's not worth getting rid of. And goalies are voodoo, and it's just like, man, goalies are voodoo.
11 games this year. He has the third highest save percentage in the league, behind Laurent Brossoit and Aiden Hill. Now, both of those guys have played less than 20 games, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah,
Wow.
So David Riddick seems to be maybe the guy, but that, I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts, because I remember him and pretty much everywhere else he's been. Not ideal.
Wasn't he starting for someone at some point like 3 years ago?
He was
starting
in
for
Calgary.
That's
And
who
then
it was.
he-
I was
and
gonna
then
say
he
it
came
was
to
the Flames,
Toronto.
wasn't it?
And he was awful.
I know he was bad in Toronto.
Yeah, he was bad. But who knows? Go Kings, go.
I
Is
mean,
what
you
I'm
guys
saying.
broke Ilya Samsonov, so like,
Hey,
He's back.
he's good now.
He's back.
He's
to being
back.
good.
He's
did
playing
you
well.
break him?
What?
Did he get unbroken?
It seems like it.
He's
Finally.
been unbroken.
Stop breaking good
He's
goalies.
like a 970 goaltender since he came back or something. Like
I've always loved.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
big
working.
Samsonov fan. Like, always liked Samsonov. Was bewildered that he didn't just become the de facto guy in Washington, and then he came to Toronto. And I remember when he came to Toronto, I was like, oh shoot, they got their star goalie. I was like, ah, crap, that's the move.
So, yeah, and I mean the Leafs are losing as we speak. It's 2-1 Islanders, but his save percentage is above 900, which is a win based on where he was earlier in the year. So good for Samsonov.
He's
Uh,
faced 23
I
shots
like
on
Samsonov.
my screen and let in
Yes,
2.
he has.
So it's
Yep.
not horrible.
Not bad.
Not like I can scout goalies, but he's just fun to watch. He's just a freak.
Yep. So I guess we can port over to chat questions, but before we do, I'm going to do a quick ad read. So Sam, feel free to hydrate. We're brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link below or scan the QR code in the stream and provide a small kickback to the show on anything you buy in the store. You can also support us through Puck Preps, where you can get all your NCAA prospect needs and CHL draft needs and work there. You can also find us or support us through Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is a business for hand-tracked targeted player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA and Europe, with packages and flexible, certainly very flexible for whatever your needs may be. And of course, Scouching.ca. So you can subscribe to Scouching.ca and get exclusive access to innovative data tools with unparalleled insights into draft prospects, as well as players getting their way into the NHL. So we got quite a few questions.
Say unparalleled insights 5 times fast.
Unparalleled insights?
Yeah, 5 times fast.
Unparalleled insights, unparalleled insights, unparalleled insights, unparalleled insights, unparalleled insights. Is that 5?
Actually,
Excellent.
All right.
I have excellent control of my tongue. I played
Also-
clarinet for 8 years.
Also,
That's
Sam,
so not
why,
where I
why
was
did you
thinking
have to like
go.
take? Will said hydrate yourself, and you hydrated
know, that's
yourself
why I
in
did it.
front of the mic.
I know. I did that on purpose.
I
Oh,
hate
boy.
you, Sam. I hate you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
boy.
Thank you for
Oh.
drawing attention to the.
Well,
You're
the
the
more chaotic
worst.
this
Gag
show
joke.
gets, the better I will be, I think.
Agreed.
Anyway, the first question for the evening we have, what do you think of Jake Gensel? And do you think the return would be worth trading him? I mean, I really like Jake Gensel.
I don't think Pittsburgh should trade him just because
don't think
Pittsburgh's
yeah.
got to be in if you're gonna win with Crosby and Mal. I think I don't remember who it was. I actually think it was Jay Fresh. Isn't he a Penguins fan?
I have no idea.
Okay, I think it was him because I think he's a Penguins fan. But basically, it was like Crosby's last playoff game for the Penguins can't be what the last playoff game was played. Like, they need to get into the playoffs. They need to have a better run, even if it's not a win, just something to and you just can't trade Gensel. As long as Sidney Crosby is on your team and still elite, the fan base owes it to him to be patient, basically, and just ride the wave. He's doing everything he can to still lead the Penguins into the playoffs. Don't trade the few talented players he has around him.
But what do you do?
And keep Jake Gensel.
But here's where I'm going to argue. Why can't you do it for 1 year?
Because you will never get a Jake Gensel caliber asset by trading him back within 1 year. You will just be weaker for the rest of Crosby's career unless you trade him for a top 10 pick and then you get a slam dunk first liner in 2 years, which is a really risky play.
I think you have to at least look at it because Pittsburgh's really not in a spot to even compete this year. They're just not.
Yeah, but it doesn't
I agree
it's
that
not
you can't,
NHL
like,
24.
No, I
That's
know what
my
you're
thing
saying.
with
I
it.
know what you're saying, and I've like my mind just flipped right now about this. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's like, what are you gonna do with it? Like,
You're gonna try to win
yeah, but
You try
but
to win.
when?
now.
Yeah,
Now.
but you can't because they can't even, like, they're so far out of the race almost. Like they'd have to
This
have like
year,
an,
sure, but like just try again next year almost.
They're not that far out.
and they're
but
not,
they're not
like
that close either, right? Like
They're-
they're still quite a ways away.
How many points out are they?
They've got 51 points through 46 games. The next two highest teams above them, the Islanders have 52.
But they're not in a playoff spot. The Islanders.
Okay, yeah, that's true. They have a ways to go, but it doesn't. I don't think that matters. Like, what are you going to say to Sidney Crosby? We're trading your first line winger
No,
because
I know.
we don't think
it's
like
it sounds nuts.
logic. It's like when the Leafs didn't trade like James Van Riemsdyk and Nazem Kadri when they were rebuilding. It's like they didn't like they needed
But,
guys
what
like
assets
that.
do they have, like, beyond
It doesn't
beyond
matter.
Jay Gensel?
It's one of
Like, it
those
doesn't
things where,
matter.
like, if their assets are in such a position where they can't do anything to improve the team, then Gensel alone isn't gonna, like, even if you got the craziest return for Gensel, everything needs to break even so quickly for it to turn into even kind of a wash. It's like Sidney Crosby could not be Sidney Crosby in 2 years. He probably will be because he's Sidney Crosby.
Exactly.
But like, he may not be. And Malkin and Letang and Carlson and all those other guys, they're on steeper timers that are a little spookier.
Yeah, like
It's
Letang
like
is,
you don't
unfortunately,
have
Letang
time
is
to
not
play
that good
with.
anymore. Like he can
No,
still
so, like,
do stuff offensively, but like he's not the defensive
You just
side's
don't have
not great.
time.
Evgeny Malkin
Yeah.
has declined quite a bit. Like, I love Malkin, but like he's not.
Yeah,
what he
he's
was.
absolutely not the top 5 player in the league he once was, but like,
Yeah,
And
like,
I
you're
know
not
Jay
wrong. You're
Gensel
being
is your
logical.
young- is like your younger asset like that.
And he's
Of-
29.
Exactly.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're saying
they don't-
younger asset, but like he's 29, so
Exactly.
like just keep
No,
him as
but
part of the
you're
core.
you're being logical about this, but like not logical in
No,
the
I
way
understand.
I think.
Like, you can't tell Sidney Crosby you're trading Jake Gensel. I get it.
Yeah,
you can't tell
like
him
you
that.
have no option, right? Like you're gonna like Kyle Dubas is here to ride this into the dirt and then pick it up when it's over. Like, that's his job.
Yeah.
Is
But
to
do you
ride this.
Do you not think that could be riding this into the dirt for like
Yes.
3 or 4 more years without any success potentially?
Yes.
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 But at the
Yeah,
same
but it
time,
doesn't
people-
matter.
But doesn't that sound
here,
insane?
I'll rephrase it. Sure, but I'll rephrase it. The question that you're asking to this is: trading Gensel going to suddenly elevate them out of the dirt in the next 3 to 4 years?
No.
Just
Probably
that
not.
one move. So why trade him?
Because
I
maybe
just
you
don't-
can get some assets and try and re-sign them in the
But-
off season.
I don't. That's
That
a
very
risk.
rarely
That's
happens.
No,
a
I
risk.
understand that it's very rare, but it does
I don't know if
happen.
I-
And like, you obviously can't tamper and say, hey Jake, we're gonna send you on your way for a little bit, go compete, and then come back next year. Like, they don't have any control of that, but like, they'll have cap space available to try and get other
I don't know.
guys.
Yeah, like they just went out and got Eric Carlson. Like, actively went out and got him.
Well, Dubas
Like, they're
inherited a
not-
mess. Let's be real.
Yeah,
here.
but then Dubas went out and got Eric Carlson. Like, he didn't have to if he thought that this was not something, like, if this was a team that needed to be rebooted, he wouldn't have gone out and got Eric Carlson.
Yeah,
Like,
I think Dubas will just do. I think Dubas will make some surprisingly solid moves to further bolster the Penguins in the offseason as best as he can with what he has, and just keep
Pray to
playing
God.
with it. And all you kind of need to do. You know what the Penguin? I can't believe I'm going to say this. But you know what the Penguins need is just like a lucky goalie season.
they got Jesse Puljujarvi. He might save the whole thing.
I don't know
he's
if
not
he's
a
a good goalie,
I know.
but like I get your point.
Jari's been pretty
Yeah,
good this
no.
year, though. He actually has been.
Yeah,
and they're
Jari's
still-
been
they're
really
still
good.
having problems.
Yes, but I mean, they're just hoping to get a ticket to the dance, and then who knows, right? Like, that's where they're at. Because, like, otherwise, you're looking at trading some of the great names that are on that team, right? Like
This is just the depressing reality
Yeah.
of like the declining former dynasties. When
It's like the Sharks. Like the Sharks a few years ago, they had an infinity-year-old Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton, and for years and years, it's like, oh, this is really coming to an end here, and it's kind of,
Joe Pavelski
and they waited,
left, and
exactly,
then it
and it's like
imploded,
and then it fell apart,
and he's still
and
awesome.
now it's a nightmare in San Jose. But like that, they were going for it. They had their guys, and they were just, I mean, some of those contract extensions were crazy, but they rode that team into the dirt, and now they're digging themselves out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot of options beyond that. You're just in such an impossible situation with such cap commitments that you can't really work around.
The position
and
sucks. Like, it's not a good spot to be.
It's not a good spot.
There's no
have
solution.
Like an older generational talent where you've won cups before, and what are you gonna do? Tell them, hey Sid, we're not gonna go for it this year. We're gonna really restart. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Bad look, and you don't want to get rid of Sid. Like, you can't. He's still awesome. He's still arguably a top 5 player. Like, he's still in that conversation. He is still a disgusting dude.
He's trucking along. Yeah, he's trucking along.
Awesome. But I don't know, man. Like, they got to do it at some point.
You keep Gensel, and you just.
But to answer the actual question, because we really didn't do that, what would the price be? Like, what would the return be on that? And it'd be pretty high.
It would be pretty high. Yeah,
it'd be high, and
like you could definitely fetch a high.
I don't know.
Like.
Yeah, it's a first plus. Sean Monahan just went for a first. Gensel's a far superior player.
I would look at the Elias Lindholm deal and then add on better prospects.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, feels like the right way of looking at it.
Because
Gensel
like,
is an elite
complementary player.
Yes, he is. Yeah, 100%. Like if you send him to a team that, like Carolina or something, I feel like Carolina would be a team that just opens their wallet.
Aho.
Yeah. Like that could be excellent, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Is all.
But yeah, great question.
But anyway,
because
it was
talked
very
about it
interesting
for quite a while.
Yeah. Thoughts on Oliver Moore and Frank Nazar going on heaters in the NCAA? I mean, I'm not surprised. They're both extremely talented players.
Oliver Moore was just we were all expecting Oliver Moore to get comfortable and then completely torch the NCAA. And Nazar, I mean, he was. The only questions people have with Nazar are usually like NHL based, and it's mostly just like, what is he actually going to be in terms of upside? Because we all know he'll be a solid player there too.
Yeah. With
college, if you watched Frank Nazar in his draft year and then you watched NCAA play, you knew Nazar was going to go and just torch the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about this, so I might do work on this later in the year when I'm not so busy, but I feel like there's been a lot of players since the World Juniors who are on fire. Like Michael Brandsegg-Nygaard is having his best month of the year since coming back. Oliver Moore, of course. Frank Nazar is also on a good one. There's been a few players that I've caught. I think Noah Ostlund.
The World Junior can be a big momentum turn.
Well, like a confidence generator.
Gavin Brindley last year.
Yeah.
Brindley exploded after the World Juniors.
If you step onto a surface with junior players when you're used to like college guys or pro players, you just probably get some legs back. Like you can probably go, here I can play this way, X way.
Ostlund was sunning people at the World Juniors because you could tell, or I remember watching his SHL games, how he was playing like the man's game before in his draft year. I was like, I hate how he shies away from all sense of pressure.
Right.
Now he's just like, come on, hit me. Do it, idiot. I'm still keeping this puck.
Right.
And he went to play junior players, just crushed them, and now he's back in the SHL, and he's just been unstoppable. He's just, Buffalo players have no idea what's coming.
But I mean, it's good for the brand that Oliver Moore's on a heater. So I know that for sure. It's good for the brand.
Good for my brand that Ostlund's sick.
Well, you're part of the brand. Yeah, it's a good one.
That I watched.
He's great.
Who was draft eligible.
Yep. Yeah, it was. It's been good to see those guys take off because he had a bit of a slow start, but good for him. Oh God, the Montreal Canadiens with the 6th overall pick are proud to select Konsta Helenius, and with the 24th overall pick, we're proud to select Jesse Pulkkinen. That's going to happen. Sam, how would you feel after... Oh, he's leaving. He's going to go home.
Amen.
I don't know. I mean...
Can I get an amen?
You think that I don't already prepare for this? Do you think I have any expectations for the 2024 NHL draft?
In reality,
That's
can't
why you
imagine.
made a reaction and took your headphones off and acted all
Yes.
upset.
Like
because
in
you
reality,
aren't ready for it. So because you're completely ready emotionally.
By draft day,
for
I'll
it.
be completely numb. I'm gonna walk out on stage and be like, "I'm expecting Pulkkinen 6th."
you're going out on stage.
Well, that's
I'm fully man. Now I
Sam,
want Sam to just wander onto the stage at the draft.
well,
Like
that's because Sam's gonna be like baked out of his mind when he's when he's there.
Hey,
Pulkkinen
we don't condone
6,
drug use on
man.
this show.
especially not in America.
He's going to charge the stage.
And admit he's on
Michael got
shrooms.
nothing.
Yeah, he's going to admit he's on shrooms. I'm crazy. I'm on mushrooms. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And with the 6th pick in the 2024 NHL draft, here's David Reinbacher.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see Jesse Pulkkinen in all seriousness happening. Like you've got 4 defensemen or 5 defensemen that are like
won't
under
be
23
either. He's just not the type. Like you got to think like what type of European player does Bobrov want? And I don't see Hellenius as that type.
No.
It'll be like
Levshinov, right? Or
I'm hoping someone likes him more than we do, and that he's already gone because I don't see Levshinov getting by the Canadians, and that makes me big sad.
Yeah, I don't think Salayev will make it to where Montreal picks. I feel like he'll go really high.
I feel like the top 4, I've been picturing it as Celebrini, Lindstrom, Salayev, and Levshinov.
I don't think Celebrini's going top 4. I don't think so at all.
Wow.
At this rate, like he's 9th in Central Scouting in North America, so that's like a mid-first round pick. I don't think he's going that high.
Sorry, you mean
he's
Lindstrom, right?
No, Catton.
Oh, I said Celebrini.
He said Celebrini, dude.
Oh,
I'm sitting there.
Sorry.
I'm like,
and then you said Celebrini too.
Yo, I was like,
sorry.
What?
My headphones are too quiet.
I had to check you there for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. I misheard. But anyway, continue your point.
No, I was just like Celebrini, Lindstrom, Salayev, Levshinov feel like the top 4, and then somebody wild cards Yzerman. Maybe somebody looks at Demidov's feet and goes, "Yep, that's it for me." And hopefully those don't happen because that means Levshinov is the one who's likely to fall. Because I think Lindstrom, Salayev go 2 and 3. I don't know which order, but I feel like that almost works itself out as a lock.
We will see, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know when was the last time they drafted someone out of Finland? I feel like Montreal hasn't really.
Joni Ikonen was taken in 2017.
Okay, so 6 years ago. I don't remember.
Someone else too.
Isn't Yulinen?
I mean, Slavkovsky was out of Finland, but he's not Finnish.
Yeah. No, there was like a mid-round pick.
Yolonen is Finnish.
Oh yeah, Yolonen.
But these guys, that was 2018.
And there's someone.
Yeah, but that's sooner than 2016, is it?
Who
not?
did? We took somebody in 2020.
Oh, KK. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, Kotkaniemi.
No,
so
that's also not who I'm thinking of. Somebody more recently than that.
I just was curious. But like since the Kent Hughes era, I don't think there's been that many.
Oliver, right?
Thank you. That's what.
Oh yeah, Oliver Kapanen. Right.
That's what
Forgot
I'm
about him. I like Oliver Kapanen. He's fun. Oh, smart. Yeah, he's not very fun, but he's smart. Anyway, on to the next one. Hey, Scouching crew. Hey, we're a crew now. Do you think there's any value in viewing draftier tape on post-first round stars like Fox, Yossi Bergeron, et cetera, to identify? Yeah. 100%.
Like that's I'm not even joking when I say that. That's probably the most valuable tape you could find. Yeah. You could watch like NHL stars in their draft year and just do and then do a comparison of what they are today, and then go watch players from the draft, and then just kind of that would be like the easiest. Like, well, I guess you could just kind of see how that works out.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's why I feel like the more now that I'm like 5 years into this and I can see like the 19 and 20 draft players and they're actually becoming like sick now. And it's like what was working and what's not.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and watch just those players again and see how drastically my takes would change.
Yeah.
Except for Maverick Bork.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I agree. And the opposite is true too. Guys who didn't work out that were drafted really high, and you go look at them and you see how they played when they were draft eligible, or guys who maybe in the last couple of years haven't really come along the way that you kind of, like you said, with 2020, like obviously guys are not done developing, but it's interesting to watch them when they're draft eligible. And now some of them are in the NHL. Some of them are playing good minutes in the NHL. Some of them are doing stuff. And others maybe haven't really gotten to the point, you know, and it's funny, like you and I talked privately, probably until we both felt like throwing up, about how iffy we were on Shane Wright, like how there was frustrations with him and how we were kind of like, yeah, he's probably the best player in this draft, but like he seems to be locked in here and I'm not so sure that he should be, right? Like, you know, and
it's one of those, like, that was a lesson too of like one of those, maybe we should trust that gut instinct more, like,
which I mean, I've learned how to do that over the years, where it's like I'll have my takes, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
41, baby, 41. Sorry to interrupt. Austin Matthews, 41st.
Oh,
or sorry.
Okay.
It is the 41st.
Well, anyway,
Boo-erns.
Back to the show. I mean, I think it's a perfectly acceptable thing to do. It's probably a must to do, both directions, right? And that's one of the first things I did when I first got access to all these video platforms, is look at guys who were 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, going, these guys outperformed everybody around them. So what is it? And generally it's the guys who play quickly, play with skill, and generally aren't 6'7", you know, like the guys who are 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet, and just go and have skill. And that's kind of the lesson to take away.
The draft bias has always let them kind of be the ones to slip, and then you just be the one to take them. And
exactly.
Hope that the one you take is the one that actually pops off, I guess. Because there's 6 or 7 that slip every year, and only maximum 2 or 3 are actually going to be what people think, and maybe one just becomes an NHL player.
So what you're saying is draft Fabian Lysell 1st overall every chance you get. Yes, that's what I got out of that conversation.
Is it you know how on Twitter how you can like mute phrases?
You can't mute me. I'm the producer.
AJ phrases.
No, you cannot
like
do
any
that.
mention of like Matthews or Marner.
Probably not a good idea.
I could mute you right now if I wanted.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the one in control.
Silence the co-host.
Exactly. Well, then I'd actually be muting Will, because you both come in on the same track.
That's true. Yeah, we come in from the same track, so that would be a bad idea. Let's move on.
And I'll try and keep my Leaf stuff to a minimum, everybody. I realized how awful that must have been.
Someone reposted a tweet of every 2024 draft's top 15 picks superstar ability. This was a question that was reposted in our chat. Would we agree? Macklin Celebrini's listed with wheels. Probably I wouldn't say that. No.
I feel like that's true, just not if you're trying to describe a player with one term, like it needs to be an all-encompassing term, and Celebrini is more than wheels.
To me, it would be confidence. Like that guy pushes.
That's not a trait, though. In the game.
Well, I mean, yes, kind of. I was going to say
talking about.
I was going to say
not as like an X factor, right?
I think X factor is confidence almost.
Yeah, like he goes to scoring areas. He's not the biggest guy.
We're talking about NHL 24, right? Or am I like
no? And 2024 NHL draft, like, oh well, I don't know what those are. Are we talking specifically to the? Oh, I don't know what those are.
I don't even know what those are.
I haven't played NHL 2024.
Yeah, because I heard wheels, and wheels is for when you're.
See, I didn't know that.
So like, let me look at this question.
Yeah, do your job.
Yeah, well,
turn the game off and do your job.
No, I don't have any idea what most of these mean. So,
what can you read off some of the?
So they've got Macklin Celebrini for wheels, Ivan Demidov for puck on a string.
Yeah, that's a Chell. That's a Chell one.
Yeah,
that's a Chell thing.
Recognize these terms.
Yeah, I think these are Chell terms.
Yeah, I don't know enough to know if these are accurate or not, or what they should be.
Yeah, sorry, we're not cultured in that bad EA game.
I think the last one I played was 2021 or something. I don't know.
It was the one that had Matthews on the cover.
Oh yeah, okay. I see this now. Yeah,
these are all playing before that
these are
one.
all
they're Chell ones.
Yeah, these are all Chell. Right. These are all Chell.
All right.
Well, sorry. We're incapable.
Dumb. We're dumb and old.
Go play Rocket League.
Confidence is not an X factor ability in the game.
I thought you meant it was like not an X factor in hockey, and I was like,
I was like,
that's pretty good with him. What? Anyway, would you rather have Sean Monahan or Adam Henrique as your second line center? I haven't seen enough of Adam Henrique to really know,
I mean,
to be perfectly honest.
I wouldn't have been able to answer this prior to Monahan being on the Habs for either player. Since seeing Monahan on the Habs, Henrique would have to be. I liked Henrique years ago.
Right.
Like, I really liked Henrique years ago. I don't know. It's just I'm too outdated to answer this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Adam Henrique is having a decent season. He's 33 years old.
I'm surprised he's still like kicking around. Good player, like a legitimately good for him.
Like, I think they both are kind of comparable. They're both good, sort of middle of the lineup guys. I would not mind either. I wouldn't mind having both. They're not bad. They don't make your team worse, I don't think.
No.
Especially Monahan, because I've seen more of him than Henrique. But
I'd just be surprised if Henrique was better, but that's mostly just because I think Monahan is still. I was very surprised by how good he was in certain areas of the game, especially in terms of the offensive zone and his passing.
Yeah, his passing is really good. This one's for Sam for sure. Is John Mustard going to be better than Josh Anderson? I think that's a great question. I think that's a great question because if anyone is kind of like Josh Anderson this year, it's John Mustard. If there's anyone like Josh Anderson, that's a really good question.
Mustard just loves to never look at his teammates as he just goes sliding around people and just shooting.
Yep.
I mean, Anderson's got that bulldozer to him that Mustard doesn't have. Obviously, Mustard's 18 years old.
I think Mustard is just like a reincarnation, like same but different. Like, he gets around guys and beats them with speed and the
I don't know if there's ever been a question more phrased to make me look at Mustard and go, wait, is this who I want anymore?
Well, I mean, if you get Josh Anderson with like your 23rd overall pick, you're probably pretty happy because Josh Anderson has been a 30 goal scorer before, hasn't he?
Sure, but he's one of those 30 goals, but at what cost to the rest of the line players? Like,
sure. He's never scored 30 goals.
Anderson is a player who I want in the playoffs in my bottom 6 to play like a top 6 guy.
Right. That's fair.
John Mustard, if he goes down that path, yes. If Mustard's playing in the top 6, or Anderson, I will say, if Anderson's playing in the top 6, you get very mad very quickly, but he'll do at least one holy crap a game.
Right. I don't know. I like John Mustard a lot. I don't know, but that's a pretty apt concept.
What an awesome player comparable when player comparables usually aren't that good, and that one really paints the picture.
That one is pretty good. Same but different for sure, at least. Gun to your head, Lindstrom or Catton? I mean, for me it's Catton.
I was gonna say Catton.
Yeah, like I watched a game of Lindstrom today. He wasn't great. He's frustrating too.
Lindstrom's an idea of what he could be that's better than Catton. Catton is every time you watch him, you're like, man, this dude just doesn't make mistakes, doesn't play bad, and doesn't do anything wrong, and he's awesome at everything.
One has more tools for sure. The other has the talent to make everybody better. That's my view of them. And I'll go with the guy who makes everyone better.
Yeah, I was like, I always go with the elevating player.
Yeah, I'll always go with the guy who makes everyone else around them better.
There's a very serious world where Lindstrom is good enough to be like a second line scoring winger, but doesn't ever take that next step that he should to like elevate his line mates and like really start driving a bus.
Yep.
Berkeley Catton don't know what to do but hold that pedal down.
Yeah, he's the bus driver.
He drives.
He's the leader. Bus. He's the head of the union of the bus drivers.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
He's driving buses.
Yeah, he drives the bus
every day. He's like locked in at third for the rest of the year for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I watched Lindstrom today, and then I did a game of Demidov. I kind of want to bet on the Demidov guy.
I've always once have I watched Lindstrom, and when I'm more interested in betting on him than Demidov.
Yeah,
to me, it's just Catton is the safer pick. Demidov is I love the cereal box thing that you said. It's like Berkeley Catton's a great player. I don't know if he's going on cereal boxes.
Yeah,
Ivan Demidov might just be like the Kellogg's mascot for 2 years.
You never know. Oshios was a thing.
Yes, they were. That's true.
And does TJ Oshie really deserve to be on cereal boxes?
I mean, that was an iconic Olympic run. All I'm going to say. Yeah, that's what it takes. It's something like that. And Demidov's got the talent and also that 1,000-point career potential. Anyways.
But I mean, I think we both agree. Berkeley Catton's the guy. And Brian Stewart is here. Have you had a chance to see anything of Heikki Ruohonen? Yeah, I have. I thought he was a guy when I watched him. He was like, he's got some decent size. He's just a very smart player on a very, very bad team. He plays for Kiko Espoo or whatever they're called in the Finnish Junior League. And also the Finnish Junior League is also not the best level of play. So let's also just like the bar for entry is quite high. And I thought he was fine there, but I haven't done any tracking of him or anything. And I probably should because I hear his name a little bit, but meh, to me, meh. Best goaltender in hockey right now. I don't know if that was in response to, I think we might've been talking about Connor Hellebuck. Yeah, it was. Defensive depth is a need. Yes, I agree. Chris Tanev is the name being tossed around Winnipeg.
I actually forgot about that.
Sure, I guess. Like,
it's fine.
I mean, but why?
Yeah, like, would you replace Dylan Sandberg or something with Chris Tanev? Like, maybe, but I don't know. But
I should go and watch Tanev.
He would at least help. Like, Tanev's not bad, but that'd be more like depth than anything to me.
Yeah.
How weak is the MHL? Well, how long do we have? We got 23 minutes left in the show. We could talk for 23 minutes about how strange a place the MHL is.
It's because you know what's funny is I've kind of started to think to myself, should I stop calling it a bad league and start calling it a unorthodoxly weird league that just doesn't lead to NHL success? Because the players aren't bad.
No, they're not.
They're not.
A lot of them are
but
bad.
Like we could say the same about almost all junior leagues. It's like they're not bad relative to the other junior leagues. You know, like in Europe, J20 is the king of all the junior leagues. It's not even close. And then from there, you can rate them however you want. But the MHL isn't necessarily bad. It's that a player can do well in the MHL by doing things that will never in a million years work in the NHL. And then they go up to the VHL and the KHL and they kind of look like, eh. So it's just like hard to evaluate. And I think this is like the exception to that. I'm not a big like regional guy. I'm a big crossover guy. Russia is the type of region where you need a regional guy who understands the ins and outs of all three leagues and how things typically work.
Poor Dylan Griffin.
I am actually referencing Dylan when I say this. You need I feel very out of my depths when I start talking about like Russian players beyond the obvious top 4 or 5, because there's a lot of factors that I don't know how to evaluate the same as I would in other regions because it's so weird.
Well, a lot of the times there's not like beyond 5 guys that you look at. And
this is true.
Yeah.
Like the same is like you could look at like 20 interesting J20 players in a year, decide 10 to 15 are worthy of further looking at, and then 8 or 9 somehow make it into a top 100. This does not happen with the MHL, like ever.
Like
but they're talented.
Yeah, there are players worth watching, of course. You can sometimes find some good ones that are sort of percolating around the fringes, but there are 37 teams, which is out of control. Some of them are the same program with multiple teams. Yeah, three divisions of 9 and a division of 10, so 37 teams.
That's horrible. It's so
and they're
bad.
spread out all over Russia, which is also crazy.
From Siberia to Moscow.
And I do a lot of tracking of Russian games. For me, my approach is you just toss out half the teams. Like you just sort of go, I don't really care how Ivan Demidov plays against Sputnik Almetyevsk. I don't care. Like he probably will score 6 points or 5 points. Like great, cool. I'm not going to learn anything, but I will watch him against like the team from Omsk who have like 8 goalies, or one of the or the 1946 St. Petersburg team, or Lokomotiv's team in Yaroslavl. Like there are good teams there that suck up all the good players, but there's also just a lot of teams there who probably should have their own
that's
league.
The other side of it is just like understanding the ins and outs of what teams to be watching and all that stuff. Usually I just go and look and see a team in the standings and I just do a quick check and it's like, how bad are they? sometimes I watch those bad games, not with the intention of like actually evaluating, but just see what they do against like terrible teams.
It's difficult to pull talent and play in Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. And if you don't know where that is, you should look it up on a map. It would be tough to pull talent to play in that place.
Okay.
Which is on Sakhalin Island, which is closer to Japan than it is to China, probably, which is wild to me.
Is it that island?
Yeah, Sakhalin Island. There's a team there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's kind of what you're dealing with. But anyway,
that is nuts.
Back to the nuts. Back to the NHL. What moves do you see the Ottawa Senators making at the deadline? I mean, you can imagine Tarasenko is gone.
Yep.
You got to trade Tarasenko. He's got a no trade clause, but why would he stick around?
He'll waive it.
Yeah, he'll waive it. Dominic Kubalik is a UFA. You probably move him. Eric Brandstrom is an RFA.
What are you get for like a Dominic Kubalik, like a third or fourth,
like a
maybe?
pick. Yeah, you get like the Ottawa Senators could get a couple of picks
by letting. Yeah, just take picks and take random players. Take Russian goalies.
Yeah, like they only have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds this year only. But anyway, yeah, I mean those are the easy ones. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. It depends on who's offering what. Like maybe you sell high on a Matthew Joseph who's having a pretty good year and you get a decent offer for him. He's an accessible deal.
I feel like they're just like not going to be overly competing for a playoff spot next year either.
I mean, maybe, but
we've been saying maybe, so I'm just going to be confident and say, like, I don't really think it's going to be happening unless, like, the Atlantic Division itself, like, kind of falls apart around them and just kind of, like, spook up a little. Like, if Buffalo is a team I'm looking at more likely to take a big leap into something next year than I'm looking at Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but
I don't
know, because the big problem in Ottawa seems to be their depth and goaltending. And
not going to be addressed in a single off season.
You have Korpisalo for 4 more years, and you have Anton Forsberg next year too, and that's $6.75 million between your goaltenders. So if you're gonna add a goalie that could play with Korpisalo, you got to move Forsberg, or if you're gonna play Forsberg next year, you got to move Korpisalo. And
which good luck.
So yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do. The Sens are in a bit of a tough jam. But we'll see. I don't know. If I'm the Ottawa Senators, though, like I don't trade too many guys off the roster because like the young guys there are pretty good. It's just a matter of like I think signing some more efficient, better depth guys, and I mean
making decisions for the defense and for the bottom 6 and for goaltending signings as well, I guess.
Yeah, and the Jacques Martin thing seems to be. I mean, they're 6-2-2 in their last 10, so that's cool.
The kings of getting points when it really doesn't matter. The Ottawa Senators, ladies and gentlemen.
And losing when it matters. Yeah, and falling apart when it matters.
And giving people this false sense of hope that they're going to do something.
There must be something about Ontario. I don't know. There must be something about being a team in Ontario that just makes you...
My team that lost because they traded Pierre Engvall to the Islanders and he scored. Team into this, okay? Thank you very much.
Anyway.
Senators went to a conference final more recently.
That's true, they did. What makes Berkeley Catton a player you regard so highly? What are his pros and cons? I mean, really, it's just that he makes everybody better. Like, you could slap anyone with him and it'll make them look great. And those are rare. Like the playmaking,
he plays off of his
vision.
Teammates' strengths so well.
He's just a really good player.
Without mitigating his own, like that's a really fine line to walk. Like, how do I drive the bus to be the guy because I'm capable of being the guy, but also always put my teammates in a situation that works for them, not just like them. Like, how do I get I don't want to like burn through the amount of time we have because I'm about to go on a street.
He's very, very good.
I'll just say he just do the thing good.
What's AJ's ELO and is his best comparable ELO, whatever. And is his best comparable Magnus Carlsen?
It's about 1350. And it's my comparable is definitely not Magnus Carlsen. I'm just an idiot that's probably maxed around his ELO. Who plays too much and gets way too mad at games. Hence
Mine's
a broken
15,000.
laptop.
Just kidding. I'm not talking about chess. That's my CS ELO.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna skip that one because it covers 7 years of players. Have you been watching Zellweger in his games for the Ducks? I watched the first one.
I watched that one GIF that was sent to me.
Sam's a GIF guy. He doesn't watch the games. He's a GIF guy.
Yeah, Sam doesn't watch.
There's
hockey,
a lot of hockey to be watching, man.
There is, but it's like Sam's that guy who will say, well, "You need to watch, guys," and then he only looks at GIFs.
No, if I'm watching the guy,
He's
watching
too busy.
the guy. I'm just not gonna say I watched them until I watch
no,
them.
He's
you're
too busy
watching
watching USHL.
just on a repeat loop that somebody has sent you in a very like short form content that's like anywhere from 6 to 8 seconds long.
Unlike us, Sam has a real job. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
Sam has a big boy job. Yeah. You have to like go to bed at a decent hour.
That's why he's well dressed.
Yeah, that's why he's well dressed. Yeah,
I'm
look
wearing
at me.
sweatpants.
I look like a slob. Oh, we got a Twitch bot. That's cool. No thanks for whatever that's pitching.
Wait, what's it pitching?
Just I want to offer promotion of your channel. Flexible and convenient order management chat panel. Everything is in your hands.
It sounds
Streamrise.
It sounds like a win-win. What are you doing?
Sounds like a mess. Anyway, oh my goodness. What do you think it would cost to move from 5th to 2nd or 1st in the draft? It doesn't matter.
A stupid amount, and it's
way
not
more.
worth doing it.
No.
A good player's going to fall. If you do your homework, you're going to get a good player. Who cares?
Every single year, you get some speculation about, this team's looking, they maybe will trade their pick, blah, blah, blah. But the other side's probably like, you're going to pay for it.
My response is, why would you if you could just take Berkeley Catton or Ivan Demidov at that point? Like, literally, you're trading up to take players like...
You're trading up to take
likely Salayev or Caden Lindstrom. And Lindstrom is worth it. Not worth it considering Catton and Demidov are on his level as well. And you can get them with those picks. So you're paying assets just to move and draft an equal caliber player.
Yeah.
And if you're taking Salayev or Levshinov, it's like... Okay.
Go nuts.
It's one thing if you're doing it at 3rd or 4th, it's like, it's still not my move, but I get it to an extent. But when you're trading up to do it, it's like, it's like the Coyotes trading up to take Geeky thing. It's like, those are a lot of picks to take Connor Geeky.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Will. Hello. Not Sam. Just me. Yeah.
Hey.
Me. Yeah. Am I crazy for seeing Nils Höglander and someone like Luke Misa? I don't think so. I think that's reasonable. They'll probably be drafted in a similar range.
These aren't the worst player comps coming out tonight.
No, I like Höglander a lot, and I like Luke Misa a lot, and Luke Misa is going to be a 2nd-round draft pick at best at this rate.
Which is wild to me considering he's one of the highest scoring OHL players, but he's like
I get it.
10.
I get it.
He's 5'10", so that's all it takes.
Right, but also he kind of comes and goes, and like a lot of the playmaking I've seen out of him is like getting into battles in the boards, which he probably won't win as easily in the NHL, and just heaving pucks to the net, just funnel them to the net, but I don't really see that as that big of a problem because in open ice he's lethal and he's got a lot of pace in his game. Like, I feel like he's going to be a guy who gets drafted in the 2nd round. Everyone thinks is not performing up to expectations, even though he's in the NHL playing 400 games and has 250 points. Like, it's like, if you get a guy who scores 50 points a season in the 2nd round, that's like Nils Höglander.
The way I look at it, like there's a lot of situations where I wouldn't be surprised if he like kind of has a career, similar to like Liam Greentree or Sam Dickinson, who are like the top OHL guys to a lot of other people. It's like I could absolutely see Misa having a better career than Greentree. It's just not a bit.
What year was Höglander? 2016?
No,
2019?
No, he was like 19. He was in the same draft as Robertson.
Yes.
Nick Robertson.
So Nils Höglander is the 79 is the 12th highest scorer from his draft with 74 points in 188 games.
Yeah, okay, this sounds pretty much. Yeah, you know what? I could see that. Archetypically, I think this works out pretty well. Actually,
it's like you don't really think about it, but he's scoring. He's played a lot more games than a lot of these guys, but he might be just one of those guys who gets drafted too late, scores at a solid rate, and everybody thinks is just
Yeah.
not as good as he could be, but he's just a good player. I can feel AJ's silent pain with the Engvall goal. Okay, so I didn't know Engvall scored a goal.
At that point,
but
yes. But
unfortunately,
I responded, "You're not wrong."
Yes.
Brutally painful.
I love this comment.
Engvall so much. I was so mad when they traded him, and I knew this would happen.
Yeah, it's just how it goes, unfortunately.
Kill me.
I love this one. Josh Anderson is that player in my keeper league that a savvy GM keeps trying to get a first round pick out of, but never plays him in the lineup. That's a great fantasy hockey thing. You never play him. You never play him, but you want a first round pick for him. It's like, who do you think? What do you think is happening here?
Man, that is the most like average dynasty player thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I know. Is the MHL the QMJHL of Russia? No, the MHL is the only high-level hockey league in Russia.
It's like the CHL.
It's like the CHL. Yeah, it's
but it's like the whole CHL was the QMJHL with a massive league strength disparity from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
wild like
mash the whole CHL together into one league, and you kind of get something close to the MHL, right? The Moose Jaw Warriors against the Shawinigan Cataracts. Well, Shawinigan's actually pretty good this year. But like Valdor, that's gonna be a fun one. So yeah, I mean, I think the worst teams in Russia are not even CHL caliber. Like they're bad. I mean, in the past they've been worse, but it's bad. We have a geopolitical statement here. Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk was disputed territory for a long time between Japan and Russia. It's got lots of petroleum. That's very true.
And I wonder why it's disputed.
Yeah, I wonder why it's disputed. But
oil,
it was Japanese
baby!
for quite a while. Yeah, oil. Well, unless you caught questions that you would like to have answered that I missed, I believe that's it for the evening.
Well, we should fill the time because we are.
Yeah.
We are obligated.
We are under time. Yeah, we're obligated.
What time is it?
It's 9:53. All right, let's go back. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the one that encompasses 6 years, and this will do fine. Who are the 5 most dynamic first-round talents you have seen since 2017 through 2023?
So is it each year or 5
No,
total?
I would think total.
From 2017 2023?
Yes.
Jack Hughes
Jack
gotta
Hughes-
be up there, and
Jack
Connor
Hughes is
Bedard.
one.
I can't
Connor
Well, I think
Bedard.
Connor Bedard's
comment
one, and then
on
Jack Hughes
17 and
is
18 because it's not like I had I had no access to things.
Right.
I was following as a dedicated fan more than anything.
I was just a wee boy.
I was barely
19,
watching just
100%
NHL hockey in
Hughes.
2017.
Honestly, I'd throw Cale Makar in there. Cale Makar
Yes.
it was the AJHL, but like
I can believe it. And I
unbelievable.
would if I had to make a list just knowing how they all turned out, I would be like, yeah, there's no way Makar isn't on the list.
Yeah.
I would say I actually did see some of the 2018 players. For 2018, I would say Quinn Hughes was like insane.
Yeah.
Like he was insane. I remember watching him and he changed a lot of how I viewed like defenders that I still kind of have those principles in my scouting today.
Yeah.
So would you take him over Rasmus Dahlin now?
No. But I also wouldn't have back
Because
then.
they're both
either.
in this. If I'm remembering correctly, they're both in the same draft. They're both 2018.
Yeah.
Let me pull
Quinn
it up.
Hughes has just had like a little bit more
Oh yeah, Quinn Hughes.
dynamic play to him. Dahlin is still it's almost like Dahlin has more skill, but I feel like more dynamic ability comes from your feet than it does from your hands. It's how hands support feet, not so much the other way around.
Yeah.
Not like Dahlin is an ungifted skater. Like Dahlin is like, you could argue Dahlin over Hughes in this category pretty easily.
All right.
I mean,
Hughes is the one that
let's
just
make a
kind of
list.
popped.
Yeah.
Let's make an actual list of these
Yeah.
guys. Okay, so we're putting Cale
Hughes,
Makar on here.
Yeah, Makar, Jack Hughes,
And Connor
Bedard. Yeah. 2021. Who's 2021?
Eklund.
No,
Fabian
probably
Lysell,
nobody there.
baby.
No,
But he's not going in the list because he
If
won't
Eklund
practice.
doesn't make it, then nobody in 21 would have made it.
Yeah, I don't think you can put anybody in 21.
I don't think Eklund. Yeah,
And I don't think you can put
definitely.
anybody in 22.
Honestly, I might throw Quinn Hughes in there. Quinn Hughes might be the guy to put in there as well.
So would we say that it's Cale Makar, Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Connor Bedard, and Rasmus Dahlin? Would those be the answers?
Can I toss in a dark horse? Can I toss in a dark horse from what I remember when I was this player was draft eligible? I'm going to throw Kirby Dach out there. Kirby Dach, when he was a draft eligible,
was nuts.
He was very good. The thing with Kirby Dach that I found strange was he sometimes turned on the jets and was insane, but sometimes took the foot off the gas and would maybe not score, but still showed a lot of potential to score even when he wasn't, jetting around. Elias Pettersson. I mean, Elias Pettersson is kind of up that Rasmus Dahlin angle though, where it's like the definition of dynamic is like constant change and like a diverse kind of output. And with Pettersson at that age, I don't think that was there, but I mean, he was just insanely skilled,
like absurd level of skill, who was not strong enough yet to have the skating he does today. And he's still a weird skater. It's just worked out so well for him because he's kind of he built his skating stride to fully complement his hands. But like dynamic is so movement based first that it's got to be like it's Hughes and Hughes. I didn't see Makar in the AJHL really, other than like highlights, but like, you look at Cale Makar, then you go look at the AJHL. Kind of not hard to see how Cale Makar was like the most insane thing you've ever seen.
I'd throw another honorable mention at Tim Stützle, maybe.
I was thinking Stützle. I'm also a little bit thinking
pander to
Cooley and Smith.
Dude, I have a Mannheim jersey with Stützle on it. I love that guy. He
Logan
rules.
Cooley, Will Smith.
I don't think they're in the same class. Like
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of like names from the recent drafts. And
I think the 5 we have.
I think the 5 we have.
We're not going to put this in any particular order because we should probably just answer the one last question we got during. But Cale Makar, Jack Hughes, Connor Bedard, Rasmus Dahlin, and Quinn Hughes.
I feel like that's pretty fair.
Before we get to the last question, Brad Lambert, 2 points in the AHL All-Star game tonight. So there's that. He just keeps scoring.
Sucks!
And it's everything. When you score in the All-Star game, you're on the track to being a tremendous NHL player.
And if you don't try in it, you lose Hart Trophy votes.
Exactly. Oh my God, I love that. If you didn't know, apparently Nikita Kucherov, some people were like, oh, he might lose Hart Trophy votes for not caring enough at the skills competition.
Yeah, that was discussed on 32 Thoughts today.
That was on 32
Friedman.
Thoughts.
So, like, there's real people voting that are going to take that into consideration. But, Will, should you feel any concern regarding Lucas Reichel if you're a Chicago Blackhawk fan?
So, I actually have watched a little bit of Lucas Reichel this year, and it seems like everything is just going wrong for him. Like, he's 21. I remember him in the AHL last year. He was a great AHL player at 20, which is not easy. He is having a bad year though. Like I don't know. I'm trying to pull up who he's been playing with on the ice in Chicago. But it has not been really his year. I mean, I do think that if I remember correctly, he's one of the guys who's like should be scoring more than he is, more than most players. But his like defensively, especially, like he's just not super effective. He's still pretty light, from what I could tell. He's just not really physically there enough to like make a difference. But I mean, I don't know. Whenever I watch him, though, you still see the moments where you're like, yeah, this is Lucas Reichel, like the skilled, aggressive guy who goes to the net. I remember that from when he was in Germany. It's just, I don't know. It's just not going in for him, which sucks. And he's having a rough year, but I would always hesitate to give up on a kid when he's 21. Like always. I would say generally, like, I don't know, my time where I go, you might need to think about a player in this way is when they hit that waiver eligibility. Like if you're a year away from them hitting waivers, like that's when it's like, we got to get something out of you, right? I don't think Chicago should be looking to move him just because he's not working out. You're not going to get anything in return for him that's worth it unless he asks to leave, and you might get something. But to me, it's like you got to see how things go. I mean, I thought last year you saw it last year with Chicago. I didn't think he was this bad last year. So it's not like he doesn't know how to play. I actually pulled up his line mates and I didn't even look at who he's playing with. But yeah, he's been playing with Mackenzie Entwistle and Cole Gutman most of the recently. And Mackenzie Entwistle, or was it, which Radish is on that team? Taylor Radish and Andreas Athanasiou. You know, those guys should probably help you, if you're a young guy to get moving.
Yeah,
but they're also
they're not bad NHLers. They're just not like good NHL,
yeah.
Chicago's
but it is
a rough team, man. Like
they're a rough one.
Just give it some time.
I would say like my general rule of thumb is like you hold on to the guys you draft until you really have to start thinking about things. And for me, for Reichel, that would be, I think, 5 years past your draft. So it's been, let's see, 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Like going into maybe the year after next, maybe I start going, ugh. But I'm hoping that Chicago getting guys like Oliver Moore in town, a bunch of the other guys they drafted last year that are looking good, or 2 years ago, maybe starting to make their way in and getting better, and hopefully he's one of them.
For sure.
Yeah, like he's one of them. I still have faith, but he's having a bad year. You can't really deny that. But anyway, that's going to be it for tonight. It is again been a wonderful, wonderful show. Sam, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
You're a trooper. You put up with our shite. Well,
and we
I caught myself there, and we put up with his. Yeah, but
I don't catch myself as well.
But
it's all
we
good
love
vibes.
you at the end of the day, Sam. Even if we also hate you.
At least the end of
amount.
5 days a week. The end of 5 days a week. Maybe take a couple days off. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Again, we're brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link below or scan the QR code, and it gives us a small kickback on everything you buy in the store. We're also brought to you by Puck Preps, where you can get all your NCAA prospect needs and CHL draft coverage. We're also sponsored by Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is my business for hand-tracked player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA in Europe. And of course, Scouching.ca, where you can get exclusive access to innovative data tools, a really fun Discord server that we're all a part of, and unparalleled insights into draft prospects and players making their mark. I just updated all my deeper production data. So if you're a subscriber at the top tier, you should have access to some fancy new numbers. And I updated the goaltending information as well. So now I feel a little bit smarter about goaltending this year. I'm really trying. I'm making an effort.
You are making
I am making an effort to learn about goaltending and everything. I've separated my goaltenders from my skaters. I now have a goaltender group of players I'm interested in. We'll see how that goes.
I do agree that
we'll see.
I always feel weird when I'm trying to rank a goalie.
Yes. So it's kind of like this guy in the second round or third round. Sure, I'll go for it, but whatever. Where? I don't know. But anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you. Well, oh, yes. What?
Check out our TikTok. I'm trying to do
that
stuff.
too. Yeah.
And make good content. So shameless plug. Check out our TikTok, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we make that a banner on the TikTok? Trying to make stuff and do good content from our producer. Like that's it.
You're welcome.
Trying to do stuff. Yeah, we're trying to do stuff. So go over there and check it out.
We want to be able to stream there, and we need 1,000
TikTok. Yeah,
followers.
that's true. Yeah, we really want to do this on TikTok too. That'll be a lot of fun.
We're quite short of that mark. We've been growing a decent amount.
Yeah. Worst case scenario,
900 followers short, and then
worst case scenario, if we do get live streaming on TikTok, we can just do the NPC scam like everyone else. We'll just do that and bring it back. That's successful, right? Still, right?
Yeah.
Is that what the kids are watching these days? Anyway,
that'll grow the followers of the TikTok account.
Yeah.
Is that what the kids watching these days?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we're dragging this on, but thank you for joining us, and we'll see you Thursday afternoon.